Well, well, welcome to the show. Welcome to what we're calling at the moment. This is a prep show for a show we are calling Political Fattyz. Is it a show that's going to last forever? Is it a show that's going to run one episode and we'll never, you know how these things go. We'll have to find out and see. But Tech and I like to talk politics. People don't like coming into Gabbin' and Games and hearing politics. They don't like coming to Madhouse and hearing politics. So we figured, well, maybe every day or maybe from time to time, we will do a show that is about politics. So it's called Political Fattyz because at the moment we're fat guys, but I don't mock fat people. Nothing wrong with being fat.
One of us is fat.
Okay, well, we'll let the audience guess who. But we're both overweight.
They know who.
We're both overweight. How about that? The point is, though, welcome to the show. It is a political show, so if you don't like politics, tune in tonight for Madhouse or tomorrow for Gabbin' and Games. This isn't the official show. The official show is going to be out in the living room studio. These are the prep shows to figure out if there's even enough interesting stuff to talk about. Hugh Jalode says, here's the prelim question. Do you want the animosity from talking politics? It seemed Colin, for example, just cut that out of the agenda. It attracted a lot of negativity. Yeah, I mean, that we're going to have to see how it goes. I like talking politics. I like debating politics. But I like to think I am, unless someone's just an asshole, I come to the table with a very open mind. For example, even today, one of the stories that we're going to bring up to you guys and see if it's worth talking about proper tomorrow, is sort of, and I don't know how true this is. But it's a Nancy Pelosi story that really doesn't make her look very good if it turns out it's true. And I'm the most progressive guy you're ever going to meet. I'm super lefty. I'm super progressive. I can't stand Trump. Can't stand a lot of what's happening in the Republican Party right now, but I can still, call it like I see it. And hopefully that will be, that'll allow us to at least dodge the more extreme assholes. And then we can just agree to disagree and part as pals. I don't know. Tech, do you share the same philosophy? I mean, you're a little bit more centrist than I am, I would imagine. Would you agree with that?
I think I'm fairly more centrist than you are.
The one thing we
I don't know.
The one thing we know is your gain is really high. We know that's true.
I think you fucked it up. My gain is only bad on your end.
Okay.
Like everywhere else I go on Discord, it's totally fine.
All right. So if the audience isn't complaining, let's keep going.
Well, no, they're going to complain because it's on your end. It's
okay. Well,
whatever sound meter thing you have.
All right. Well,
on OBS.
I turn you down a little bit. Okay. So you're more centrist than I am. You feel?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because I think specifically when it comes to establishment, like you would call me like an establishment progressive. Like that's probably where I stand. Like I believe in the organization of government. I think that it's really beneficial. I'm totally fine with government having like a bit of an outreach on stuff, but not on certain things. So that's where we differ probably.
Okay.
Also, I'm less involved with like how someone's emotionally going to react to something. I could care less. It's whatever's the most beneficial take is probably the better take.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Yeah, SF, I don't know. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine as well. But, okay. So where I usually start prepping for a show like this, I mean, there's obviously some very big news that we might just want to jump into first, and then we'll get to some of this. But I do go to Ground News a lot. I've talked about Ground News on the show before. Ground News is basically a site that does a pretty good job of letting you know what the right is covering and what the left is covering. And if they are missing something, they call it blind spots. A good example, if you go to today's blind spots on Ground, this is the one I was talking about. 86% of the right is talking about this story, but the left is only covering it 7%. Now, is it because it's a lie? I don't think so. Ex-Capitol Police Chief slams Pelosi, says she rejected National Guard help on the 6th of January. So this is coming on the tail of Pelosi basically saying, "Hey, Trump, you're doing this whole nationalizing the guard in D.C. and stuff right now because you want to distract from anything from the shitty economy to the Epstein files, and on and on and on and on, right?" And this police chief writes her on Twitter and says, "Hey, I asked you guys for the National Guard. I reached out to you specifically on the 6th of January and said, can we get some fucking help down here?" And apparently she said no. Now, what's great about Grounded, and this is not an ad for Grounded, but I would be more than happy to take their money to shill their product because it's delightful, is not only do they tell you who's reporting the news, they give you a sense of who owns it and how left or right they are and how much factuality according to a number of different sources. So they're even putting MSNBC as mixed factuality. Denver Gazette is reporting it, says it's high factuality. The one thing we know that they're reporting is probably accurate is this is the tweet that the police chief sent out. What we don't know is Nancy Pelosi's response, and if it turns out that she was approached by this guy and she said no. That hasn't been determined yet. But my point of all this is that you have to keep your mind open. Both sides are fucking evil. Some people on both sides mean well, but the more I live, the longer I live, the longer I recognize the fact that this is all probably, you either get into this business of politics because you are corrupt and you are able to play the game, or you get into the business of politics because you're a good person and you want to change the game and make people's lives better. But it is humanly impossible to resist the call of corruption. I don't know which it is. And I don't know, because I look at things like what's happening in the Republican Party right now. I look at things like what's happening with what Trump is doing when it comes to distracting people from Epstein, nationalizing. I mean, what he's talking about doing is pretty much creating a police state all over the country. And I look at that and I go, I understand that there are some really greedy assholes, whatever party we're talking about, but for right now, let's just say it's the Republicans, that are willing to sell their own mother to get ahead. But all of these fuckers, like, isn't there one Republican that's going to stand up to Donald Trump and say, dude, what the fuck are you on about? Washington, D.C. crime statistics are actually trending in the right direction. He has ignored those. You can look them up. We'll show them to you on this very show. You can look them up, but he has ignored those to paint this image that DC is a shithole filled with crime, and it's like, Detroit with RoboCop, and they need to bring in the military, and only Trump is going to be the guy that can solve it. And it's like, isn't anybody on the Republican side going, dude, you can't do this? Even the National Guard, not even the National Guard, the Marines have said, a lot of these guys are like, we fucking hate this. One guy said, I don't want to be part of this. It's like being in the Gestapo. And this is a fucking Marine who's saying this. K-Nub says MAGA will just say those numbers are fake. No one actually cares about numbers anymore. Okay, but isn't there a point? Isn't there a point where somebody ask yourself this. This is what I'm fascinated by. You are in the Republican Party and you know what's going on is wrong. Why isn't there one human that says, you know what? Wait a minute. This is not, what we're doing is not right. Don't these people have any moral code? Don't they have any sense of and don't they have enough money? It's like, there are people losing their jobs left and right all the time. The industry I used to be in is in shambles right now. Video game people lose their jobs every fucking day these days. And they're not billionaires or millionaires. Why in the fuck can't one of these people just fucking stand up and say, you know what? even though I should have walked away a long time ago, I have enough. My kids have enough. We're going to be okay. This is just simply not right. And I'm not trying to proselytize to you. I'm literally asking because I don't understand what creates these kinds of people. So that is my first question on this first episode of Political Fatties. I don't know if you want to call in 888-910-7235. I don't know if Tech has any views on this. I don't know if anybody in the chat has any views on this. But what is it about these people on either side, but right now we're talking about the Republicans, that creates a human that just doesn't
It's so compliant.
seem to care about anything other than their bank account? Tech, what do you think?
I think, and we've touched on this before, I think the the amount of money that goes into electing these people is just too unregulated for them to be completely removed from the influence of where that money comes from. And until we resolve that, we're just in for it with all politicians that are coming in.
Wait a minute, though. That I don't understand what you're saying. I understand that, yes, money and Citizens United, these are the things that are destroying the country, even though money has always been into politics. I get that. What I'm saying, and so, yes, you're right, that until
they're scared to engage because they know that, like, the powers that be stem to make a significant amount of money based on the direction that, like, POTUS is taking everything, right? So if they do stand up, they're signing away their next potential campaign.
Okay, that's what I'm asking you. Isn't there a point where you go, okay, but there are things that are more important? If you're these people and you've already got, and again, you shouldn't have to have already made your millions to get, religion, or to come to morality. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say, these motherfuckers, most of them are already millionaires. They're going to be more than fine if their next campaign gets smithereened because they stand up to the powers that be. Lose a job. Take the hit. I mean, is it the quality of people that this job attracts, or is it that the minute you get into politics at this level, there's a whole underground operation that goes and finds all of your pressure points in your life, your family, your history? They'll kill your family. I mean, what is it that makes it so impossible to just say, I'm going to walk away from this? This is not morally acceptable. That is my question. And I genuinely am curious. I'm not trying to say it like I'm sitting in judgment on these people. I assume that if anybody listening to this chat, as much as we'd like to think it wouldn't be the case, if any of us fell into these jobs, we have to assume we would be the exact same way. Because this seems to be ubiquitous. This is ubiquitous behavior on the part of almost any of these people. Left Control Gaming says the job attracts millionaires who want power. Yeah,
true.
I mean, maybe the very nature of, if you go into this job, you're bound to be one of these kinds of people. They work their whole life to be in those positions, says John Sulk. So what? I don't understand it. Okay, so what you're saying is, John Sulk, is that, I'm not saying you agree with it. I'm not saying that you support it, but what you're saying is, just take Nancy Pelosi. And again, this is on both sides, okay? But this woman has all the money she's ever going to need. Her kids have all the money she's ever going to need. They're ever going to need. She has planted her flag, spread her seed, politically speaking. Why not just fucking walk away? Why not just say this is the right thing to do? Blue Gamer says it's more than power, it's health. The young people are their DNA. The pedophilia is to control the narrative. I don't understand what that means. You're telling me that I don't know what you're talking about. Are you actually suggesting to me that you believe, or you're fucking with me, right? You don't actually believe the narrative that these political people get into the PDF shit because what? It keeps them rejuvenated like vampires? Tell me that's not the road you're going down. Because I mean, we know that is an actual narrative that's out there. Blue Gamer says Epstein scientists were researching using DNA blood for longevity. Epstein didn't have scientists. I mean, again,
maybe.
Show me the fucking evidence of that. I mean, I've seen all of that. I've seen that Bill Gates was on the island doing all kinds of experiments and shit. But I mean, how much, when do we put our foot down and say, okay, you know what? We need some proof of this shit. Because otherwise you're just quoting it like it's a real thing already. K-Nub says the level of power is likely an addiction. Some people are addicted to cheese pizza, some drugs and alcohol. We all have our bag of hammers. You're right. But wow, I don't know. John Sulk says it's their whole life, like telling a heroin addict to put down the heroin. I don't see how you goddamn people are not sympathizing. I don't see how you are vibing with these people. I don't see how you can even understand these people. Haven't you ever had a moment in your life where you've had to make a choice that you knew was the better decision and you said, you know what? I'm going to put my financial gain in the back seat because I know what's right. I know what's right. Hasn't there ever been a point in your life where you've made that call over the more corrupt call? There have been a couple in my life. David said, you asked the question, we're trying to give you the answer. I understand that, David. But what I'm saying is I don't understand your answer, because for your answer to sit well with me, I would have to basically go, that's just how people are. And maybe that is heartbreaking to me, and maybe I don't want to accept it. And so I'm struggling to settle with what you're saying. Politicians see this as a career. It's hard to step away from a career that gives that much benefit and media attention. Who gives a shit if it's hard? That's all. Okay. I have absolutely, I don't get it, but you guys, your answer probably is better than any answer I have, which is I don't fucking understand it. Right? I mean, look at this. Let me show you this thing. This is something. Now again, I mean, Drudge Report, which I go to because even they're like TMZ of political news, right? They're not always accurate, but they get there first, and then I'll do my own work and I go to Ground News to kind of fact check and shit. But these guys have been a right-wing tabloid. Even they have turned against Donald Trump. So let me go to that. That's kind of my next question there, right? Which is there a point? Is there a point, right? I saw last night on Fox News that it was 84% of MAGA want the Epstein files released. 86% of Republicans who don't identify with MAGA want it. And then it just goes up for independents. And then it just goes up for Democrats, of course, as these things tend to go. Do you look at that and just go who is still supporting this man outside of his political cronies and the Republican Party? Who is still are there people in the audience right now? And again, I give you 888-910-7235. 888-910-7235. You can call in, share your views, use your phone. Is there somebody out there that is enjoying what this man is doing? Or is there somebody out there that is going, I think he's doing what's right for the country? Like Dean fucking Cain, the fucking moron that is Dean Cain, saying, I'm joining ICE because it's the right thing to do. Now, I understand before Trump got into office, there were a number of stories, and I didn't fact check them, but I'll go ahead and just, tip the hat and assume they're true. Where it was like, oh, the illegal immigration is ruining the country and they're taking over the hotels and they're this and they're that. Let's assume there was some truth in that. And maybe there was a lot of truth in that. I didn't see it. but let's assume that's the case. And I live in a fucking border city, but let's assume that's the case. Is what you're saying that what this guy is doing when it comes to everything else, the economy, the tariffs, Epstein, Russia, all that is not great, but thank God he is getting rid of the illegals. And he's also getting rid of a lot of, innocent people. And he's also, in my opinion, terrorizing the country and turning us against each other and politicizing militarizing the police force. But my God, at least, isn't this better? Thank God we don't have trans women competing in sports, and thank God we don't have all those illegals running around the country. Like, is this really, is this the benefit? Is this worth it? Assuming it's even happening. SF says, this is terrible. All past presidents gave more money to ICE. No, they didn't. So it's like the root of the problem is institutional, and Trump is now wielding it irresponsibly. Trump's, quote, big, beautiful bill just gave ICE, I think, was it $64 billion to expand? Is that number right, Tech? $64 billion?
For ICE?
ICE expansion and there was like, in order to give them money to build out detention centers, hire more people. SF says Biden gave millions to ICE before he left. I'm talking billions. I don't know if you have facts to back that up, Brian.
The current number for ICE expenditure based on Trump is an increase of $45 billion.
$45 billion. Okay. So that's a lot of money. They're the biggest federal agency now, right? SF says, did Democrats do anything to stop it? To stop what? They ran somebody against Trump and she lost. Prison junkies.
Yeah, Biden also expanded ICE, but by considerably less, still a good amount, $3.4 billion versus Trump's $45 billion.
Yeah. Jaffe, is some of your confusion on political stuff that you've mostly lived in areas besides childhood where you're surrounded by similar thinkers? Like, have you lived in a hardcore red area? Other than where, for 18 years, I lived in Alabama, but not in a while. No. But again, I'm an open-minded fella. Explain to me what the red state view of this is. What am I missing? I don't have to be right. I just want to be informed. What exactly are you suggesting that some guy on his farm in Ohio is thinking about these detention centers? But see, this is the problem, Prison Junkie, I have. Prison Junkie says, I don't like Trump, but I believe in borders. Everyone believes in borders. I'm telling you guys something. And I'm not telling you something you probably haven't heard. But you need to fucking hear it again. From various people. And so I'm going to be one of them if you don't mind. You have got to stop believing the talking points. They absolutely exist for no other reason than to get you to parrot a bunch of shit and to brainwash you. The fact that you are walking around, anybody is walking around, thinking that the vast majority of Democrats, like, look what Brian M. is writing. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden didn't believe in borders, my guy. I will PayPal you $100 right now, Brian M., if you can show me where Kamala Harris and Joe Biden said, you know what we should do? We don't need any borders in America. People should be free to come and go as they please. We don't need to track anybody. We don't need to have a department. We don't need to have immigration. We don't need to have a pathway to citizenship. You absolutely have no evidence of that. And I'm not upset with you that you have no evidence. I'm upset that you aren't critically thinking this through. What's more likely? that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats, no. You don't get to argue like that with me and think you're going to get away with it. He says they said it with action. They literally, everybody in LMAO, are you serious? You are not going to come at me and just say vapid shit and think that you're going to be anywhere close to being a victor in this discussion. Be specific. You don't get to say these two people did not believe in borders. And then when I press you on it, you say, oh, well, you know, are you serious? Everybody knows that. They said it with action. No. I want to know specifically. What did they do? They didn't let everyone in. Am I wrong? You're wrong. When Joe Biden was president, no, you could not walk.
I'll give you the context, okay?
I know the context.
People like to, well, no, the people don't, all right? People like to claim that Biden and Kamala, when he was president, were letting everyone in from the border. They were like, oh, I'm seeking asylum. Literally a change made during the Trump presidency on how we do asylum seeking, where we just let them in and then the judge will have to like clear it out afterwards. And there's like a backlist of these trials to do. And that's because Trump didn't want to give funding to the court justice or the judges for these immigration court systems that do this process. Instead, he's like, I'm going to put this money elsewhere, right? So he defunded the system in place to help manage immigration, and then he became the problem. And that problem existed throughout the Biden presidency because it was established by Trump, the presidency prior.
Right, but okay, you're talking now about a level of nuance, which is not that nuanced. But you're talking about...
Look at the gain.
Look at the what?
Gain on your computer.
He's talking about it at a level of nuance that's not that nuanced, okay? But there's a big difference between what he just said, Brian. This is what Brian literally wrote. The borders were wide open for years. Look at the data. No, you provide me with the data. The borders were not wide. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? The borders were wide open for years. Look at the data. Was it easier to get into the country under Biden versus Trump? I don't know, probably. But you're painting it as if we had absolutely no border policy and people could just walk in and walk on through and say, hey, thanks, America. What are you talking about, man? Don't you want to look? I don't have to be right, but don't you want to be a little more informed about it? Let's say this. Let's assume that the immigration policy under all of your favorite Republican presidents, let's just take it with Reagan, or let's take it with, yes, there's video showing people jumping over and breaking the fence. Come on, man. Yeah, people snuck in. People have been sneaking in forever. But that doesn't mean, come on, man. Yes, there's video of that. But there's always been video of that. Every day. Hell, Tech worked for the Department of Homeland Security at Border Patrol. He was flying drones around looking for dead bodies of kids that were
every day.
Right? And so this idea that Biden was here and suddenly you've got, I want you to really be smarter. And I hate to sound like an asshole, but I want you to really be smarter. If you're watching your news from a source that has a financial agenda, and it could be left or right, that exists in order to make you feel rage and to make you believe a point, they are going to show you footage of people climbing over fences and say this is Biden's fault. They've been climbing over fences in every administration. And again, Brian M., I'm sorry, you are not smart enough to talk on this show. I will ignore you from now on unless you come with facts. Literally, you just wrote, if you can't see the difference in border policy, you are biased. I need specifics, man. Don't you want specifics?
Call in.
Well, he can't. He's driving right now. But
Oh.
and I appreciate that.
Driving in, texting in a YouTube chat, because that's real. That's
Well, he's might be like at a light or something. I don't know. But I appreciate that, Brian. I really do, Brian M. Thank you for not calling while you're distracted. And Biden disappears like they all do when they face pushback. I'm not defending Biden, even though I liked him as a human a lot more than Trump. But I'm not saying Biden's border policy or immigration policy was rock solid and we shouldn't have improved it. What I'm saying is, if here, let me take a page out of where'd it go? Brian M's handbook. Okay. If you feel that Biden's border policy was not great and Trump's border policy is better, was your life so impacted by illegal immigrants in the Biden era that all the stuff Trump is now doing, pulling people who are innocent off the street, spending $54 billion to give more money to ICE, turning Washington, D.C. into a militarized zone, even though the stats show it doesn't need it. All of that, that is the proper proportionate response in your mind to the fact that Biden wasn't hard enough on immigration. Do you really think that's what this is about? I would argue, my delightful delinquents, that a much bigger issue here is this is either distraction from Russia, distraction from the economy, distraction from Epstein, or Trump being Trump is a fucking Putin puppet. Whether you liked Hillary Clinton or not, whether you think she's the devil or not, when she stood on stage at the debate, and I don't know if you remember this, with Trump, and she said, "You're a puppet of Putin." Now, this was hilarious, that Trump's response was, no, you're the puppet. You're the puppet. Like he's a 5-year-old. That was his rebuttal. I'll just say, no, you are. Okay? But I want you to think about this. This is a man who literally said, I'm going to have peace talks with Putin. Not bringing Zelensky in. God forbid. Why would you bring in the guy that, it's kind of a ridiculous concept. Let's only have peace talks with the aggressor. But fine. I'm going to bring in Putin to the White House, and I'm going to put these sanctions down, or I'm going to put these demands down. And if he meets these demands, we will stop giving weapons to Ukraine. And you know what happened? You can see this. This was Friday afternoon. They asked him, because they agreed to basically Putin saying, okay, we're not going to give up, I think it was Eastern Ukraine, but we'll stop attacking everything else. And they asked Trump, they said, well, did he meet your demands? Did he agree to this, that, and the other in order to get that? No. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that troubling to you?
Do you think the worst part of the Trump administration's immigration policy right now is the expenditure? Do you think like the fact that we're spending so much more on ICE, and we're spending so much more?
No, that's not the worst. No,
what do you think the worst part is?
The worst part is he is turning Americans against each other. He is basically turning America into a dictatorship. I want you to think about this. The idea that you would have a president that fires the person doing the jobs data when that person has no evidence of ever fudging figures or being bad at their job because it's not the numbers he wanted. And then he turns around and also says, I don't believe the data that says crime in DC is better. I'm going to tell you, believe what I say. I'm going to tell you that it's bad. Oh, it must be bad. Okay, so now the fucking Marines that say that this is like being the Gestapo don't want to be there, have been dispatched to the goddamn streets. And they're saying it's not just going to stop in Washington. It's going to go to New York, LA, any city that he doesn't like. You're going to have I mean, what the fuck is the matter with you people? And I'm not doing a bit, man. What's the matter with you? That's acceptable to you. Hang on.
This is Prison Junkie. We wanted to talk about Trump, border, Biden,
are you
immigration policies.
Are you here?
Putin puppets and so on and so forth. I am. I really wanted to check and see if the gentleman at the computer, I'm in a parking garage. I might lose service. So
okay, but this is not a message. You are calling in live right now, correct?
Oh, I'm live right now.
All right, all right, let's go. What do you got?
Oh my God, this is David Jaffe. Oh my God.
Yeah. Wow. What do you got, baby?
Love you, buddy. All the respect.
You as well.
Okay,
Thank
so
you for calling.
you wanted someone to defend. You wanted someone. I want to know what kind of person is out there that could possibly defend this. Now, I got to be honest with you. I only just caught up into the stream, I guess, just a couple of minutes ago. So I kind of walked into the middle of it, but I heard something about border crossings. I heard something about, do you really think it's any different under Biden? Do you really think it's any different under Biden?
Well, I didn't say that. What I said
then Putin puppet, that sort of stuff.
Let's drill down. What do you want to talk about?
Well, you said that you wanted someone to call in and, talk about how could you defend this? What kind of person is this?
Okay,
I would like to enlighten you about what kind of person I am and how I have been directly. I live in LA now.
Okay,
so I get to see this stuff.
Okay, but there's a lot. Okay, but hang on. There's a lot of aspects going on here. So let's just take one. Defend the fact.
Okay.
Take one that
What's
you feel
the one
you
that's
can
most
defend.
egregious to you? Do you think it's the indefensible or the one that you think I don't know that you really are interested in exploring? Because I know you're a curious guy.
Yeah, can I choose one?
Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
choose?
Go ahead, Tech. Tech's going to choose one.
It should be the confirmed involvement of Russia in securing Trump's first election.
No. We haven't. That's a whole. Let's.
Whoa! That's what?
Yeah. Wait. Stop.
Russia?
Guys, wait.
That's based on what?
Yeah. Tech.
What source is that?
Stop for a second. Tech just threw a hand grenade in. I wasn't even going to shoot. We can talk about that if we have some data, but let's talk about the stuff that's in the news right now.
The Mueller report, I've read the majority of it.
Okay, let's talk about this.
It's out there.
Okay.
The Steele dossier, it's out there. I mean, it's nonsense.
Stop.
They have nothing.
Guys, stop. It's irrelevant.
And I don't like Trump at all, by the way.
Let's talk. I want to talk about the fact that Trump has taken statistics from Washington, D.C. crime, which show that crime is on the decline, lied about the statistics in order to bring the Marines in to police that city, and also suggesting that this is the beginning of it. It's not just going to be there. They're going to do LA, New York. There's a story today. Pentagon is planning a reaction force if people are having protests. I want to talk about how you can defend that.
Okay, now, to be fair, I'm not completely up to speed on the developments in D.C. I kind of just became abreast regarding the situation. I watched the press conference with I guess the chief of police, and then the mayor stepped in and said that Pam Bondi was Trump's proxy for the.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that journalist was asking about the chain of command. Like, what is the chain of command?
No, I don't care about that. I want you to explain.
No, I know, but that's where I'm at.
Irrelevant.
With it. But let me tell you this, Jaffe. I was here just a couple of months ago, and I alluded to this in the chat that I actually went and shot the protests on 101. I'm sure you remember a couple of months ago, and this is going to dovetail right into the Marine thing because they were here in LA.
That's right.
You remember that?
I do.
Yeah, they were here just a couple of months ago, and of course, everyone was hysterical. And keep in mind, I have a Mexican girlfriend. I'm a Greek guy myself, or I guess I appear white. I guess that it's the southernmost part of Europe, or whatever.
But what do you mean everyone was hysterical? There were protests that were happening. There were some areas of the city that flared up. The police department said, this is business as usual. We've got this. This is and Trump came in and politicized it to be like, look at me. I'm sending in the fucking military.
Okay, fair enough. That did happen. And absolutely. I mean, we could just agree not to disagree, but you and I can both agree that a lot of this stuff is like sort of ego stroke. He cannot help but to insert himself into a volatile situation such as the one that was happening in LA. And no matter whether he's on the right or the wrong side of it, he's going to sort of make it about himself. He wants to be the center of attention at all times.
But
he's the ultimate narcissist. We agree on that.
Okay, fine. You were in LA during the protest. I mean, I was in LA during.
Listen, I'm there shooting it with I shoot. That's what I do.
Yep.
Not as a photographer typically, but as a videographer, mostly like sports stock, that kind of stuff. And of course, my name is Prison Junkie, and so I've done 90.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So anyway, so they were blocking the entrance over by City Hall at the 101. Now they completely shut down traffic. This is prior to the Marine involvement.
Yeah.
Completely shut down traffic. And they're also, think about the optics of this. Now, it's hard for me to believe that these people were not like paid actors.
Who cares?
Intermingling with the crowd. They were not waving American flags. They were waving Mexican flags, throwing D-cell batteries and bricks at police cars from bridges.
It's not
the police were not doing anything about it.
Wait a second.
They were not doing anything. I was there. I saw it.
I was in San Diego. Okay, what I'm saying is the optics of what flags they had. There's no doubt that these folks were not doing protests. They were rioting and they were breaking the law. I don't think there are very many people that would suggest attacking innocent people is the way to go about what you're doing. Okay? What I am saying, though, is you said you're going to call in and defend Trump's actions and pick a scenario.
Wait a second.
Well, wait, let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish. Enough. This is a scenario we've picked. So the idea that the LAPD, who has basically one of the, again, they're assholes. I'm not like, I love the LAPD, but, they're one
I've never had a bad dealing with them.
Okay.
And I don't like cops.
Fine. They're one of the best equipped group of cops in America. The idea, they didn't call in.
Maybe.
They didn't call in the Marines. They didn't say we need help. The police chief, in fact, said, we've got this. This is what we do. Okay, so yes, should the people that were attacking the cops been arrested? Of course. Should the rioters that were setting fire to a very small area been arrested? Of course. But do you need to send in the fucking Marines and tanks? No. Unless you think you do, in which case my point is back to the original, which is defend it. Go.
I think there's a little bit of nuance to it. You also have to understand we were coming off the tail end of the Palisades and Altadena fires, which were, most people, locals, that had dogs in the fight, would agree that the response was extremely poor. The reaction
I'm confused. The cops
extremely late
on the part of the
cops.
Well,
because one thing bleeds into the next. Because Gavin Newsom, right now he's the governor. I don't know how much, but the mayor, Karen Bass, she was in Africa, whatever. They knew that this confluence of high winds and very dry. We had not had any rain in months. It was very dry. Days in advance, we were getting warnings that this is going to be a volatile situation. I say these are directly related to one another because they both speak to the incompetence of law and fire enforcement, law and fire, the law and fire services from the top down.
But wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, wait.
So even if everything you're saying is, well, look, Trump assessed the situation. He found Gavin Newsom to be incompetent. He found Karen Bass to be incompetent. Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
We have elections for that. It's not the president's job to say, you know what? I don't like how this legally elected official is doing their job. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to send in the Marines. You may be absolutely right on the fact that Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom had shown a level of unsatisfactory leadership during the fires, and thus the citizens of Los Angeles were feeling maybe we're not in great hands. But we have elections for that. We have impeachments for that. It's not the president of the United States' job to step in.
I agree with that. Yes. I mean, federal involvement, for that type of action ought to be the absolute last resort. I think that there's a good case to be made that they were demonstrating such a severe degree of incompetence that something had to be done. Now,
Well,
Is
okay,
it the
but
Marines?
wait a minute.
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. Maybe that's too far.
It does.
The police were backing up.
Wait a
They
minute.
were-
Wait a minute. It doesn't.
They were backing up. They were
you are
disengaging
jumping
from the rioters.
Yeah, that's one of their strategies. It happens. They do it and they bring in more, whatever. But the point is,
After massive amounts of damage done to the police cars, I mean, they
there was like
completely lost control of the
four
situation.
police cars, and yes,
They shut down the freeway.
they shut down the freeway before. Big deal,
Dude. You lived out here, didn't you? Go to USC. You know what the traffic's like out here, man.
Okay, you're mixing up, in my opinion, sir, two different things. You're talking about valid criticisms and concerns of the way life is in Los Angeles. I don't think, even though I haven't lived there in a long time, I can't speak to the fact that it may have made a lot of people's days really frustrating and bad. But that is not the president of the United States' job to deal with it, is my point. My point is, there's not some lever or some heads up display like on a video game that gets filled when the president goes up. I've decided, because the level gets filled, that the level of incompetence is too high. Now I can basically go in and do whatever the fuck I want and be king. That's not America. That's my problem. It's not the problem that maybe...
I agree with you in a vacuum, but I just think that you are overgeneralizing. You're making a very broad statement. I don't think it's that simple, nor do I think that President Trump has that sort of agency. It's not just him making decisions. You know that. The man is 80 years old.
Well, okay, but
he's 80 years old.
Well,
when we're talking about Biden and Trump, we are talking about administrations. We're not talking about individuals.
Okay, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, though, we're talking about his administration. Whether it was Stephen Miller, whether it was Donald Trump, whether it was Pam Bondi, it doesn't matter.
I love when they infantilize Trump. He's old, right? He's not smart enough to do this on his own.
But regardless of who was the final decision maker, the point of this call was you to call in and say, I support what this guy is doing. And whether we call him this guy or his administration, the fact of the matter is, this is maybe a very valid problem with how LA is being run. But are you saying you like the fact that we have a president that decides without any authority to step in and just go, I feel like, putting the Marines in America?
No, I mean, you present it that way? No, I do not. But I think I speak with the majority of the voters, or at least I think I feel like I have kind of a read on or a bead on what people feel. They may not feel that, hey, Trump, come on in with the Marines. We're going to show military force. It's going to be, but we want to see something.
Okay, then get your ass
going on right now.
Then get your ass to the fucking polls and vote in somebody that reflects American values that will do what you want them to do. But you're basically saying, "Hey,
give us choices."
You have choices. How engaged are you in the political process?
Are we talking about pretty engaged? We're talking about at the presidential level, because that's what we're talking about, right?
We're talking clearly about at the city level. When it comes to Karen Bass, or at the state level, Newsom, or the Attorney General. I mean, if you want to basically, if you're saying there's a problem with the way law enforcement is run, vote for better judges, vote for better police chiefs. This is in your hands.
You want to give one example?
You're advocating your responsibility.
The fire chief of Los Angeles directly contradicted Karen Bass. Said that the response time was too slow. She apologized for the department, and so on and so forth. She directly contradicted what she said. 2 days later, she was fired.
Great. Vote out Karen Bass. There are levers. This is what America is. Well, this is the problem. We have no civics classes anymore. We're a bunch of idiocracy fucking morons. When you don't like the way...
Why are you getting so agitated about this?
Because this country is going to shit because we don't have smart enough people to recognize we have a country that is designed to deal with this. And instead of dealing with it the proper way, the way that we are supposed to be patriots, we go, let the big man in the White House take care of us because we're too fucking stupid to fucking do it ourselves.
But Jaffe, to be fair, the American people, like it or not, I know you don't. I don't particularly care for it myself. I was a Bernie guy, okay?
Me too.
And I do feel I was a Bernie guy. I mean, 2016, 2020, I mean, always, even when he became a shell of himself, I still was hoping that maybe somehow they would see the light, and instead of this Kamala Harris thing, they would have done the Bernie thing. And I believe every single election and a general election that he could have won, that he had enough of a populist take, but they wouldn't let him do it. You know, they would take, they kept taking it away. Yeah. And it is kind of like you reap what you sow. You know, like the DNC, they fucked that guy over twice.
Okay, but what you are then saying is the American experiment doesn't work. It was a good. I mean, seriously, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but your actions are saying it was a nice idea that we could vote and we could govern ourselves, but end of the day, we're just not the right kind of people to do that. And so, you know what? If this guy's going to step in and take care of us all, that's what you're saying.
No, but I'm saying as initially constructed, yes, it is. But as it's presently, operating, no, it's not. And a lot of it has to do with what I think is the root cause of everything, which is campaign finance reform.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt.
It is a core fundamental issue.
Yeah.
And until you deal with that, until you eliminate the dark money, until you eliminate the ability for Miriam Adelson to drop $100 million into an election,
or Elon Musk,
until you eliminate the ability for Elon Musk to flick a button, and he is a military contractor. You cannot sit here. Not only he's the largest military contractor in the world.
Listen, I have enjoyed talking to you. I want you to call back again. On that though, we can part as pals because we both agree on that.
Yeah,
it's never going to get better though, because the very people that we need to overthrow Citizens United are the very people that benefit from it. So it ain't happening unless there's some kind of revolution. So, all right,
dude, I'm anti-war. I am like, let's get the bad money out of there. Let's get rid of the military industrial complex. Let's expose these bad actors for who they are, because they're trying to destroy the United States. And I think it's both sides. I think there's a uniparty for the most part, and I think Trump is a symptom of the problem.
You think Keanu Reeves?
He's not going to be alive much longer.
What about Keanu Reeves?
Keanu?
You think he's a bad actor?
I love you. Who the fuck doesn't love? Dude, I just love Speed. Yes, Bram Stoker. No, hold on. I just had an argument with because it's LA, right? I know lots of actors. Mm-hmm. Keanu Reeves and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Awesome.
Okay, I think it's a fucking is Coppola's hidden masterpiece.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
The one boat anchor. The thing that drags it along is fucking Keanu in that movie.
What do you do?
I love the movie.
What do you do? Speed.
You go on the river.
Speed is a brilliant movie. Better than Die Hard. All right,
dude,
be well. See you, buddy.
Break is a religious experience.
I gotta let you go.
Brother. You're the greatest.
See you, bud. Well, that was a fun call. I enjoyed talking to that young man. Let's bring on Nikita Fox.
Wow, fan favorite. Love Nikita.
Nikita, it's Jaffe. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, Nikita.
Hey, Jaffe.
Sorry if my gain's real loud.
It is. I need to change my name because it's Nikki the Fox.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just call you Fox. I'll just call you Fox. What's up, Fox?
Anyway.
What do you want to talk about?
Sure. Why not? So, first of all, I've just asked, do you identify yourself as a Democrat or
no?
Good.
Are you on a delay? Are you watching the stream and not listening to your phone? Because it sounds like the
delay would be a lot longer.
No.
Okay, I'll turn off the stream so I can actually talk on my phone.
Good.
I also think there is a bit of delay.
All right, that's cool. So no, I do not identify as a Democrat. I tend to vote with Democrats, but I'm an independent and I identify as a progressive.
What are your thoughts on Zoran Mandami?
This is the guy running for mayor in New York. I don't know enough about him. I know that a lot of the young kids like him. I know AOC likes him. I know a lot of the traditional Democratic Party doesn't like him, which kind of gives me an inclination to like him. But to be fair, I haven't really looked into his policies because I don't plan on voting for the mayor of New York, so I don't know much about him. Why?
Well, why not? Just
because he's the mayor of New York. I mean, I don't live in New York City.
What, you don't want to move to the most expensive place to live in the U.S.
I would
issue one vote?
I would love to live in New York City, but no. So, but if he's very progressive, I can't really speak to him. I don't have the education on him. So what is there a particular policy he supports that you want to know if I support it?
I'm sure you would support all of them. I just wanted to use him as an example to showcase not just to you, but to everyone watching that, like, putting faith in the Democratic establishment is not going to solve all of the problems that have cropped up.
No, the Democrats.
Like, they have been.
The Democrats are terrible.
Like, Cuomo is vilified for very good reason in New York. He's hated because, like, there's
I got
graffiti all over the ABC. Anyone but Cuomo.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I don't like the Democratic Party. I mean, I think they're spineless. I don't think they know how to. I think their hearts are in the right place a lot more than the Republicans. But I think the established Democratic Party are just as corrupt as the Republicans, just in different ways. No, I don't have a lot of value in those people at all. No.
So would you agree that people like Mondami, who claim to and actually seem to show that they care for the common man, do you think that they should completely break off from the Democratic Party?
I think ultimately that's going to happen anyway with both parties, because I think the Republican Party is no longer the Republican Party. It's marble right now. The people who are still Republicans but not MAGA are just sort of benefiting because they're in that party. But I don't think that is sustainable any more than I think the sort of far left wing of the Democratic Party really makes sense to stay. But what's good about it is I think we are finally getting to a point, because of younger people, that unlike my generation that came up where it's like, well, we only have two political parties, what are you going to do? And even though, we had somebody like Ross Perot that had the opportunity to kind of, really make a difference, I think the younger generation is able to recognize the fact that there is a lot more power in getting behind some of the people like the Bernies, the AOCs, or sadly on the far right, the Trumps, that don't kind of, just regurgitate the talking points of the mainstream party. So I think we're going to end up with four major parties, but four meaningful parties, probably in the next 8 years. So, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I think most people see it going that way. Don't you?
Yeah. Have you heard of a woman named Kshama Sawant?
No.
She was on the city council of Seattle for a number of years, and these days she's split off and kind of, that's beside the point. She was gotten into that position by an organization/party that is Socialist Alternative.
Cool.
And it was done completely ground level up.
As far as we know, as far as we know, I'm always suspicious when people say, "Oh, this was done all grassroots," because a lot of times, if you do some digging, the grassroots tends to be funded by dark money. But that said, I will look into her and thank you. Go ahead.
Socialist Alternative is like a well-known movement up in Seattle, and I think she's the first and only ever elected official who's a part of that party, which is great for her. Outstanding work. I mean, I may not agree with her policies, but
Tech, what is one of the policies she has that you don't agree with?
It has to do with like the funding that she pushes out towards for like schools. Like I think they're taking away funding from it was club activities and political movements that were being like repurposed. I can pull it up, but I'm not anti her, but
I do tend to be more social democrat than anything else.
She's also she's also a big like Gaza lady.
Okay. All right. Well, Nikki the Fox, thank you for the call, buddy. We appreciate it.
Oh.
All right. See you, bud.
Well, okay.
All right. There goes Nikki. We'll bring in
some liking this political stuff, Jaffe?
I love politics, man. We'll bring in some calls in just a couple of minutes. Let me go to the text chat real quick. Left Control says, I hate all politicians. Charles Darwin says, now that people, Charles Darwin, before I read your comment, I want to say I love your work. Now that people gave Trump the benefit of the doubt, see him sucking off the elites all the same, do they reject him now? I don't think so. I think Trump scratches an itch. Like there's I don't know. I mean, I imagine there's probably two buckets. There's probably more, but I see two clear buckets Trump fans go in. They're the people that are racist, asshole idiots. I think that's the minority, but I do think they are a very vocal group of people. Then I think there's the other group that support him because, yeah, I don't like a lot of the shit he's doing, but maybe I'll make more money. Right? I think that's part of it. But I think then there's the third bucket that I guess is just the ignorant people that are still living under the delusion that Trump is for them and one of them. I mean, you've got to be a particular brand of ignorant to be able to look at Donald Trump and still go, that guy cares about me and my family and my problems. This motherfucker stands there with religious people. Does anybody actually think this man's a Christian? Let alone
who, Trump?
Yeah, no. Of course not. But he'll stand there and have them put their hands on his. I mean, this guy is the most just any and every. And again, some people like that, any and everything to get ahead and win. But you know what? There's a point where you have to grow up from that and recognize that this is a big world and we're all in this together. And this guy is turning all of us against each other. And that's no bueno, man. Whether it's his posing as a Christian or posing as a man of the people, what kind of moron? I mean, seriously, what kind of idiot do you have to be to think Trump gives a shit about you saving your farm or you keeping your lights on? Are you out of your mind? I mean, seriously, are you out of your fucking mind? These people, like George Bush W., was stupid. Maybe that's the wrong word. He wasn't stupid. He just wasn't curious. He wasn't mentally engaged in a lot of things. But he wasn't a bad human. He was easily duped. He was easily manipulated, but he wasn't a bad human. This guy, Trump, is just rotten to the core. Tyler says Trump ran a good campaign. His working at McDonald's worked. Okay, but this is the art in your comment. He says it's just now people are realizing that was bullshit. Really? It's just now people are realizing that Donald Trump, a man who has his entire fucking penthouse caked in gold, it's just now they were realizing that he's not a roll up your sleeves and make the French fry kind of fucking guy? Like I said, you got to be a particular brand of ignorant to ever have bought. I mean, what you should stand in the town square and ring a bell out of shame if you believed the goddamn Donald Trump McDonald's bit.
Jeff, if you had to hear that in 2016, 51% of Americans would consider themselves following or keeping up with the news cycle.
Wait, say it again.
Right,
If I had to guess, in what year?
In 2016, 51% of Americans consider themselves to be keeping up with the news cycle,
Yeah.
right? The same people that did that survey did another one in 2022. What do you think that number is now?
Keeping
51%.
keeping up with the
Yeah.
news cycle. So in 2016,
51% of Americans said, "Yeah, I keep up with the news. I follow what's going on."
right,
with the country."
because Trump was running against Hillary at that point, correct?
2016, yeah.
Okay. And now we're in 2022. We're not in an election. No, 2020. Yeah, we were. We were in.
It was the election for Trump.
It was COVID.
Yeah. This was when he was running again against Biden.
That's a hard thing because we had come off 2020, where I think was a large group of people very invested, and people were probably burnt out. So maybe 15%.
It went to 38%, which is the most drastic drop in Americans wanting to be informed about the news of the country that we've seen since we started tracking this data.
And what was the reason they give, or what were some of the reasons?
Well, it says here a lot of it came from burnout and distrust of media, and a lot of people would hear things that are coming on the news, and they would say, "Well, I just don't trust it. I don't believe it," and it led to them, losing faith in what's happening. Right? Everything is fake, or everything is real, and nothing can be believed, and everything should be believed, and it's caused this ignorance. Like, I don't want to say that the Trump supporters are like
They're
stupid.
Well,
They're
the
just ignorant.
left can be ignorant as well. I mean, but in this particular scenario that we're talking about, though, yeah, it's Trump's. I mean, again, Tech. The number one thing we need to do today is reach out to Ground News and say, please support our show, because I love these guys.
I'm reaching out.
I love these guys so fucking much. But this is what you need to be doing. I'm not saying go to Ground News, but go somewhere that at least tries to show you a variety of news sources covering or not covering the same thing. Because the idea that all the news is just corrupt and everything is a lie. Is there some of that? Of course. It's awful, but it's always been that way. But it doesn't mean the answer is to put your fucking head in the sand. Eternal says they distrust the wrong people. They don't fact check what they've been told. I mean, but that does go to the left as well. That does go to the left as well. Again, I vote with the Democrats. I tend to like more of the Democratic policies to some extent. I can't imagine I would ever vote for a Republican in my lifetime, given what they are right now. But I do think the idea that Democrats good guys, conservatives bad guys, I think that's kind of part of the problem. You really think, not a single fucking Democrat should be. And in fact, I'm trying to remember if it was a Republican who actually, and it's this asshole, it's that Josh Smootley guy, whatever the fuck his name is, who brought forth, or was one of the co-authors of the bill recently, that said that if you're in Congress, you can't do trading. You can't own and buy and sell individual stocks. And the fact that not anybody who voted against that should lose their seat, whatever party you're in. And I think
Josh Hawley,
yeah. And I think Democrats and Republicans voted against it. It did pass, or at least it got out of committee to the next step or whatever. I'm not that familiar with it. But the idea that anybody doesn't agree with that policy needs to be, you know what? You're not qualified to be in that seat anymore. You're just not qualified to be in the fucking seat anymore. Rap says, and I get it, Rap says, I buried my head only for the sake of my mental health. Yeah, but see, that you're right. And I get it. And that's what a republic's supposed to be. We're supposed to send the people to represent us in the democracy because they have the time to look into this and research it and do the fact checking. But that's not what's happening because Citizens United and money, it's bullshit. I do think more people need to exercise their right to vote and do their due diligence by researching. Not even half the country voted, says Eternal. I know, it's terrible. It's utter junk. It's utter fucking junk. Okay. If you want to call in and have your review shared, 888-910-7235, 888-910-7235. John Doe says we need a hero. I mean, well, we do, but where are they going to come from? I don't agree. See, Stephen Johnson, I don't agree. He says Trump is a master at sound bites, like Make America Great Again, Sleepy Joe, and so on. His base ain't about facts but slogans, and that Trump is the outsider, not a boring politician. Yeah, but the problem is how do you wake people up to recognize that? How do you wake somebody up and go, because the worst thing in the world is to go to somebody and say you're ignorant. Because they don't want to hear that, because nobody thinks they're ignorant, but everybody's ignorant in something. Fox called in, was asking me about this Democratic Socialist up in Washington. I'm ignorant on their policies. It doesn't mean I'm stupid. Doesn't mean I'm not capable of learning, but I currently have ignorance when it comes to that particular individual. So I don't know the best way to say that to somebody is, but it's like, yeah, if you think Make America Great Again, okay, what does that mean? Be specific. What does it mean if you voted for Trump to make America great again? How wasn't it great for you under Obama? What was it Obama did? And I'm not saying Obama was great, bad, good, whatever. I like him as a person. Some of his policies I liked a lot. Some of his policies I didn't. I think his heart was in the right place as a human being. But what was so bad about your fucking life when Obama was president that you responded to Make America Great Again? And how many of those things were the fault of policies that his administration passed? Certainly wasn't healthcare. A lot more people got to go on healthcare, that's for fucking sure. What were you going to say?
So the numbers for the presidential election, 31% of Americans voted Harris, 32% voted Trump, 36% did not vote, right? And we have 1% in the others for independents and so on. Do you think there should be an incentivized program to go out and vote, or at least like a national holiday? It's your day off.
Everybody wants a national holiday. Every time it has been put up, or 90, I think it's like 96% of the time this has been put up, the Republican Party has voted against it. Think about that. John Doe says Trump offered more freedom. What the fuck does that even mean? I'm not saying you're wrong, but can you articulate that? Trump offered more freedom? The president doesn't offer freedom. The Constitution offers freedom. I would argue that in shredding the Constitution, as he has done in many ways, he has limited freedom. But the idea of a national holiday, the Republicans have voted that down the vast majority of times.
Trump got rid of my bump stocks, Jaffe. He took away my freedom.
Mm-hmm. Obama, you mean?
No, it was Trump. President Trump took away bump stocks.
Oh, I thought Obama was trying to do that too.
Well, Trump did it. He just was like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Okay, well, let's go back to your other question, though. To incentivize people to vote. I think we should make civics class. I mean, I want you to think, okay,
civics should be a requirement. I want to address Kylie Steffi in the chat saying not voting can be a vote. Some people think no matter what they vote, nothing changes. I vote, but I have abstained based on that idea. If you believe that, be like my home state, Nevada, best state in the union. I love Nevada. We're the only state in the union that has the option to say neither of these people, none of the candidates, right? Get that on your fucking ballots, all right? But at least make it something for you to go out and do.
And vote vote locally. There's a lot of local. Yeah,
there's more than just the presidential election that happens whenever we have these elections. You vote on a lot of stuff that happens in your state, right? Don't just give it up because like, oh fuck, it's either Trump or Harris, and I hate both these people. Do something. Make your voice heard.
Well, yeah, or like again, at least show up and vote for people who will affect your day-to-day life in a way you can see. And that's at the local level. But the idea, though, that it is so. It is so obvious that President's Day should be a holiday on Friday. that everyone gets off and the elections run all weekend long. And so you have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to vote. But it's so obvious that the goal is not for everybody to vote. They don't want everybody to vote.
The Republicans do better when less people vote.
Right.
By the way, chat, if you want to call in, the number is on screen, I'm pretty sure. And if you don't want to get yelled at by Jaffe, you can go ahead and just drop a super chat. We are reading all super chats, $10 and up, and we will engage with your question.
Yeah.
And we will follow your follow-up in the chat.
Yeah. But think about this, though. I was going to say another good thing would be to make civics classes more, I don't know if they're already mandatory, but given that they want to get rid of the Department of Education, I guess it's kind of really up to someone if you're going to take civics. But today, Trump has announced, I don't know if you saw this, Trump has announced that there is going to be, they are going to start making a lot more judgment over what goes into the Smithsonian and the Smithsonian satellite museums all across the country. And they are going, because they said, I think the quote was something like, they want Trump's version, his representation of American exceptionalism to be represented in the museums. Okay? This is the fucking problem. We are a bunch of fucking, the president doesn't need to have his fingers in the pie of what a fucking museum is doing.
Yeah.
The president
also said something recently about if you're even thinking about committing crimes in DC or destroying a statue, that's enough to get you arrested. Like, it's the first time a president has ever publicly said, at least, we're thought policing. We are idea policing. Just the ideas.
Sure. I mean, they're not going to be able to prove that. But part of this, you also have to remember, is Steve Bannon.
It's supposed to stem into, like, if you're having a discussion online publicly that's like, oh, we should get rid of this statue. This statue is anti-American or it goes against values, like whether it's a Confederate one or whatever.
Are you saying statute or statue?
Statue, like a
okay,
physical
gotcha.
object.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
if you want to have the conversation about dismantling physical statues out in public, right? That is, allegedly enough to get you arrested. Now we don't know because Trump doesn't clarify anything that he ever says.
Well, right. So if you look at, I forget what he called it, but Steve Bannon's big contribution to politics is basically spaghetti method. He's like, just distract everybody with noise, and it'll keep people from looking at what we want them to look at, right? And now Steve Bannon is saying he's going to run for president in 2020, whatever it is, 8, 6, whatever. So good luck to all of us. But the bigger point on that, though, is, this idea of you've got Trump saying, I want schools to teach American exceptionalism and I want you to be proud to be an American. It's like, this is some fucking ridiculous horseshit. And so it goes back to the idea of like, oh, should everybody vote or should there be, it's like, they don't want you to vote. They don't want you to, they want to brainwash you. And it's tragic. And I go back to the question of why in the fuck anybody is still supporting this man. My brother's in the chat. He says, if the right had better ideas, then they wouldn't need to lie and cheat to get their policies enacted. They are for democracy in the American way, but only when their ideas are implemented. Right. Which is exactly why I get pissed with all these Republicans that go out there and talk about, hey, man, I'm a patriot. I'm crying at the 4th of July. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're not a patriot. You're a fucking joke. You're a fucking joke. A patriot is somebody that pushes back on the government when the government overreaches. That's a fucking patriot. Somebody who waves a fucking flag and listens to Lee Greenwood's song and sheds a tear. Big deal. Fuck you. Fucking morons. That's what I would say. Jaffe, are you in favor of taking down Confederate statues, says Wiley? Yes, but not in favor of demolishing them. I think, like Indy says, they belong in a museum. I don't believe. Look, I think if you want to have a private company and you want to have a Confederate flag in your private company, it's your private company. I think if you want to be on taxpayer land, I think it's fine if you want to have a statue as some kind of historic, like, because then it gets weird about like if you're on public property and you can put up a scene of the Nativity, or a Hanukkah menorah, or a Baphomet from the Satanic Church, which I guess fine. All of those fine, whatever. I don't know why you can't also have a Robert E. Lee statue, but I certainly think that fundamentally, if those statues are out there and they're not put in some kind of context with a plaque or something, I find them highly offensive. And I would prefer they go into a museum, but I don't know if it's fair for me to support the Satanic Church putting a Baphomet at a public square, but or the Jews or the Christians, the Muslims putting their statues, but a racist can't put their statue up there. So I know they're a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same page. I think you should be allowed to have Confederate statues. Me personally, I don't mind. Obviously, it's a part of our history, and it's something we should talk about. You've talked about this before on other streams we've done, where even if it is like a unfavorable conversation or not, nice, right? It should still be given the credence to be engaged with. And
sure.
When we start running in fear from ideas, that's when we start like forgetting what is important, and we start forgetting why we have these feelings and connections to the history we have, right?
Right, but
the word slavery from books.
Oh God, no. But I do think context is important. And if you're gonna be the post office in Georgia or in a town in Georgia, and you're gonna have the American flag and the Confederate flag, and it's not flown in the context of this is a historical teaching moment, but it's just like we stand for both, I don't support that. I think that's like going to Germany and seeing a Nazi flag flying somewhere in a public building, which they would never do. Because they had, they handled their shit well. They had the ability to go, wow, we were the bad guys. We get it. They did it right after they lost the war. But I think if you're not going to do that, I think it's kind of really fucking cruel. Eternal says, no, Confederate flag is unacceptable on government property. Well, again, the only reason, and I agree. Well,
to be flown, displayed maybe.
Yeah. It's not that I believe in what it stands for. I think it's horrible. Okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that don't you struggle with the fact that there's a little hypocrisy there if you're going religious statues can be in a public place, but a Confederate flag can't? I mean, there's lots of things I don't agree with that are in public places.
A lot of people have an issue with flying the Confederate flag, and that has to do with like flag law. I know you weren't like a military-oriented guy.
Flag law?
Yeah, like you can't fly the Confederate flag higher than you fly the American flag, and you shouldn't have them on the same like flagpole. That's like some
fine. So put it
military-centric stuff.
Assume
all that
like
a case. You have it like displayed somewhere, like a museum, like this is a historical.
Okay, but no, but okay,
that's fine.
But wait a minute though. There's two things. Let's assume it's not the historical part. Let's assume all it is for whatever reason, this little town in Alabama wants a Confederate flag being flown over the post office. And it checks all the flag law stuff, right? It's not higher. It's not on it's on a separate pole. Wouldn't you agree that if that public building can also house a nativity and a Baphomet, it should be able to house anything?
Flags are just different, unfortunately.
No, they're not.
I know what you're saying. They actually are.
No, they're
flags
not.
Are different.
Well, flags.
I promise you.
Yes, as flags, a piece of chemical
legally
material.
Legally, in terms of what they're protected as, they are different.
They're not.
Just like if you wanted in the post office here in San Diego to fly like a pride flag, you cannot. And it's not because of like the freedom of speech. It is just because there's like laws about flying flags.
Okay, but I'm talking about the philosophical difference between. That's not my point. My point is, if you are going to say in a public building, we have clearly said it's okay to express all types of religious ideology.
Yeah.
Why is that okay, but it's not okay to express a Confederate flag, even though I despise what the Confederate flag stands for?
Yeah, you can. Like, if you wanted to, like, inside the town hall, have a huge Confederate flag, you can. You can definitely do that, right? On a pole is a whole different story, just legality-wise. You should be able to have a pride flag in your town hall. You should be able to have a Confederate flag. If you want to have a Nazi flag, by all means, if the electorate's okay with it, like, pop off king or queen. Yeah, I get your sentiment there. That's why I'm also against, like, the breaking down of, Confederate statues. I think that they should be able to exist.
Yeah, but I do think there needs to be some context because, thinking about even that, the idea that there's these public schools that are removing anything bad about America, like slavery, and saying some slaves were happy. It's just, we're a bunch of fucking morons. We are a bunch of fucking morons. We're a bunch of fucking morons, and we deserve what we get. Prison Junkie says, we do have more latitude with language now. No, we don't. No, we don't. This is the same shit. This is the shit where people believe anything you're told. We have more latitude with language. The Democrats attacked every piece of problematic speech, and rubber band effect was vicious. But you can still, nothing changed with the First Amendment. You may feel, no, you don't, PG. The idea that when Biden was president, you could still stand in a public building as long as you're not disruptive, but you could stand there with a sign that said, God hates Jews and homosexuals, and you could use the slurs for them, and black people, and you could use the slurs for them. That was not illegal. It's never been illegal. It's called the First Amendment. You may have had cultural shift where now people aren't going to be as upset with you, and I can appreciate that you may enjoy that more for whatever reason. But don't frame it like because of politics, we're now allowed to say things. What a load of horse shit.
Well,
what a load of fucking horse shit.
The Democrats, or at least progressive or liberals, whatever you want to classify them as, have been pushing heavily social disdain for negative ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
right? Both.
More than the right has. The right
recently, but sure.
Yeah. And now what we're seeing is the issue is that Republicans, specifically MAGA or Donald Trump, you could even say just him, is pushing for restriction on the freedom of speech for content that is not in agreement with him. And that's the biggest issue that Democrats have in terms of like what is happening to the
But nobody in America politically that was a serious political person that could get things done was suggesting policing speech. It's a ridiculous fantasy that these people believe that. It's fucking ridiculous.
Are you excited for the governor's race for California coming up soon?
I'm not really, honestly, at this point, paying attention to it. But who's
You're not a fan of Katie Porter?
I like Katie Porter a lot, but didn't she run in the primary and she lost?
I think she's currently the front runner.
Katie, the woman with the whiteboard and the two kids in the minivan?
Yeah.
I love her, but I thought she lost the primary. I voted for her in the primary. I thought she lost, but no, she's not hot, PG, not at all.
Katie Porter's hot.
No, she's not. What you talking about, Willis? What are you talking about?
Take a look at her.
Are we talking? We may not be talking about the same woman. Hang on a minute.
Curly hair, kind of like neighbor's mom looking lady. I'd smash.
Okay, no, she's not. No, she's not. She's
look at images.
I am looking at images. She's categorically not hot.
Good images.
Nothing wrong with the woman.
Look at her hips in the red suit on the right.
Oh, shut the fuck up. You're a fucking moron. Now look
at that.
Now look, I like her. I like her politically, and I'll vote for her. She's been a good. I think she's a state senator. Or I don't think she's a federal
She's a former U.S. representative.
representative,
as far as
right?
she went.
But no, I'm sorry. One thing I will push back on is no, she's not a hot woman. Everybody's got their cup of tea, but statistically speaking, she would not be on the list of the top attractive politicians, is what I would say. Anyway, that's subjective. I'll still vote for her though. I like her. Rap says, what other president has gone as far as this one to stop any kind of dissent? It's part of being a politician. People aren't going to like you, so you just deal with it, not throw them in jail. Yeah. Absolute lunacy. It's absolute fucking lunacy that people are supporting this pile of feces. But again, if you can defend your man, call in 888-910-7235. I don't think you can do it. I don't think AOC can win the presidency. I don't think Jasmine Crockett can. I like both of them very, very much. But
why do you think AOC can't do it? Because my opinion is
she's too far left.
She's been too divisive in the Democratic Party to get support for her running as a president. She's a little bit too extreme for what the Democrats consider liberal.
Well, what she may be though is, she is that. But again, so was Kennedy. I mean, the idea that visual politics doesn't play a part is ridiculous. It always has played a part for the most part.
Robert Kennedy?
John F. Kennedy. The whole reason, the whole debate thing with him and what's his face? Nixon. The kind of famous story. It was the first televised debate, and everybody who listened on the radio thought Nixon won. But everybody who watched on TV was like, "Oh, are you kidding? Nixon got his ass handed to him." But even then, that was
Robert Kennedy.
That was back in the day when debates mattered. Debates are ridiculous. Anybody who watched the debates with Trump knows that his opponent won every single fucking time. It doesn't matter though. Right? I mean, Trump, that's over.
Well, except for Biden. When Biden
the
plot.
Yeah, that was something. What a moron.
Yeah.
What a fucking moron. Prison Junkie says AOC is owned by Israel. Okay. I mean, maybe she is. I don't know, but I challenge you to show me facts to suggest to prove that. I'd love to see that.
Would you 1v1 Trump in Call of Duty?
Sure. But no, I very much like AOC. But hell, I even liked that guy. I don't know all of his policies, that Brutchert guy who's a Republican in North Carolina or somewhere. But sometimes he'll say some stuff recently that's made me go, man, maybe not. Jaffe, no one should have to vote for the lesser of two evils. Yes, you should. No fate. There's always the lesser of two evils. We should be able to vote for the lesser of four evils. But, you get the election you deserve. Right? I mean, I voted for Kamala. I didn't vote for Trump. I vote locally. I read all the shit when they send it to me in the mail. But I mean, again, I'm privileged. I have the time. I have the ability to sit on my ass and sit with my kids and sit with my family and talk about these issues. That shouldn't have to be a privilege. I have a privilege that I live in a neighborhood that when I go to vote, it literally takes me longer to drive to Taco Bell and get food. Our voting place is the rec center. We go to the rec center. There's no one there. And then you compare that to these lines all over the country where people are waiting for 7, 8, 9 hours out in the heat. And you can't get water. You can't have people bring water because that somehow is, politicizing voting or something. Come on. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very sad. It's very frustrating. And I saw somebody earlier in the chat talk about, these midterms are going to really show Trump what's what, and then he's going to be out of there in 2028, whatever. Maybe.
You really think so?
No, I don't think so. I think basically now you're dealing with a guy who doesn't want to leave unless he dies in office. He won't leave. And because when you have got, I mean, think about it for a minute. When you have got his fucking puppets that will say and support anything, and these aren't like a handful of guys, this is his entire party now. You think they really won't go out there and push for them to change the Constitution, even if they choose to change it? Well, he was cheated out of 2020, so he gets to run again. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. And all of his little bitches will fall in line. And you know they will. And it's bullshit. John Salk says he will leave. No president can go more than 2 terms, even if he fights it. I love you, Johnny Salk, but I think it's charming in your naivete when it comes to Donald Trump and how much control he holds over his party. Do you honestly? No. I hope you're right. They can change whatever they want, Eternal. Eternal says, doesn't mean they will be able to change anything even if they want it. Really? Really? This is a guy who's gone to the Supreme Court 2 days ago. I am not fucking with you. This is in the news. And said, I want ICE to be able to pick up people if they look Mexican, if they're speaking Spanish, or if they're in a place working where we feel a lot of illegal immigrants might be. You think I'm lying? Would you like to see it? That's going to the Supreme Court. Did you ever imagine you'd live in a country where the president wants to pick people up off the street because they look Mexican, because they're speaking Spanish? It's not a joke. That's not a oh, the sky is falling. That's news. You think that guy's going to suddenly turn around and go, but you know what, though? The Constitution says I can only run twice. Oopsies. I'd love to do it again. Oopsies, I can't. Constitution, what am I going to do? Come on, man.
Well, he could have run as vice president, right? And then have his president abdicate.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the rules on that, but maybe, yeah. Think about this. Think about this. I mean, the stuff the head of the head of the Pentagon. What's the guy's name? The Fox News guy, Hegseth, Huckabee, whatever the fuck his name is. Literally, this is some shit, boys. This guy retweeted the church pastor. He retweeted the church pastor who says he wants to repeal the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. And so the vote should come from the head of the household, which is the man. He also retweeted the same church pastor who says he wants to get rid of gay marriage. Now think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. You think this is a president? Come on, man. You think this is a president that gives a shit about what the Constitution says about number of terms? This is a man who's allowing his subordinate who runs the Pentagon to promote the idea that women shouldn't be able to vote and gay marriage shouldn't happen. You look a little Mexican to me. You go in the river. And what, you think it's going to stop with Mexicans? Not that it's acceptable to start with Mexicans. Then it's the trans folks. Who's next? Who's next? The Muslims? People who like Battlefield 6 more than Call of Duty? Who's next? Get in line. Clinton says, can we talk about why is the murder rate so high? It's worse than third world countries. I am going to challenge you on that statistic because I have my pal Tech Protect here. Tech, would you look up this insanely inaccurate fact that Clinton says, can we talk about why the murder rate is so high? The murder rate in cities in America is higher than most third world countries. You are out of your goddamn mind.
Maybe in like metropolitan areas, current murder rate for the United States is 5.9 murders per 100,000.
Is it down? Is it higher or lower than it was 10 years ago?
Last year it was 6.7. It's down a whole
Okay.
percentage point almost. Chart.
Yeah, he's looking it up. Yeah, unleash autism tech, says Zeke. Exactly. He's on it. He's on it. Yeah.
It spiked during COVID. That's crazy.
Well, yeah. But even which I don't agree with you that murders are up. But we'll check it to be sure. But let's assume they were, though, for a moment. Let's assume violent crime was up. Although Charles Darwin says violent crime is 10 times lower now than in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Okay. Well, maybe the crime rate wouldn't be so high if, we had better social safety nets and we took care of our people better. Just a thought.
For third world countries, I don't even want to consider like Brazil. Brazil has a crazy murder rate. Apparently in 2020, it was 22.3 people per 100,000. And for us, it was 7.2.
Okay, so Clinton, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Unless you want to share the stats.
It's been trending downward since the 90s. The 90s crime epidemic was crazy, though.
Okay,
Right?
so Nathan Smith says violent crime is up 308% in Louisiana. Okay, well, first off, I don't think anybody in Louisiana knows how percentages work, but let's assume for the moment they do, and let's check that out. I never said a thing about policing speech. The internet at large was tone policing. Yeah, but who gives a shit? Prison junkie, that's America. You have a right to tone police. You also have a right to ignore it. What do you want? I mean, that's it's a cliche and it's a trope to say, you have the freedom to say what you want. You don't have the freedom of no consequences. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the First Amendment.
The last public record of violent crime rates in Louisiana goes to 2018, where the number was 25,000 incidences of violent crime, which 2017 was 26,000.
Okay, so
the year before that was 26.5. It's going down. I imagine, from what I have seen, crime in the United States is consistently going down across the board.
Yeah, I don't know. So, there you go. So a lot of this stuff, you're just full of shit. If that's true, says Rap, then why was the National Guard sent to why weren't the National Guard sent to Louisiana, not DC? Because it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Okay, that's different though. Clinton, see, now this is what you guys do. We've talked about this on Madhouse about the unsolved murder rate. Tech, look at the unsolved murder rate. It just hit an all-time record high. Okay, fine. Then maybe let's have a president that's like, you know what we need to do? Let's improve our detective work. Fine. Maybe you have a point there. But that doesn't mean murders are up. They still know how many people were killed. They just don't know who did the shooting. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with you, Eternal. Eternal's trying to paint this picture in the chat that this is just politics as usual. This is not politics as usual. Okay? Yes, every president has the other side that pushes back and says the sky is falling, the sky is falling. But what's it going to take when someone says, I want to pick you up off the street if you're Mexican, if you look Mexican, that's enough for me to arrest you. Arrest you! What's it going to take? I want to tell the Smithsonian, a museum, one of the most revered museums on the planet in the history of man. I want to tell them what is and is not history. What about the fact that people at the highest levels in Trump's party are saying, the guy who runs the fucking military is saying, I don't want women to vote. I don't want gay people to get married. That's not business as usual, man. That is not business as usual.
The statistics for solved versus unsolved murder rates in the United States, I have it for decade from 2023 to 2013. It looks like that average is in the high 50s, 50% clearance rate is how often they're clearing it. And then it looks like the unsolved rate from 2013 to 2003 is in the low 60s. So we were clearing and solving more murders last decade versus this decade. But the amount of murders that exists have gone down by 6%.
But what's interesting, though, about this Clinton guy in the chat is he's jumping all over. When one of your talking points doesn't hold up to scrutiny,
then it goes to the next one. Yeah,
right.
Obviously.
He says, so Jaffe, the whole defund the police movement, you don't take any responsibility for that policy, like the direct correlation to higher rates of crime? No, because you don't even understand what defund the police movement was. The liberals or the Democrats or whoever made a incredibly stupid choice to call it defund the police. It's kind of like open borders. Okay? Nobody that was serious about anything was thinking, you know what? We don't need police. What they were saying was the way the police departments are trained and funded should change. We should put more money into training. We should put more money into having social workers travel with certain units of cops when they go on, what do they call them? Domestic disturbance calls. Because a big jarhead guy who was an amazing military sniper, and that's what he or she does brilliantly, is probably not the same set of skills you want for a teenage kid who's cutting themselves and threatening themselves. You probably want, that's what it was about.
They were very publicly saying that the defund the police movement should be a reallocation of the money spent from police departments, specifically in areas like procuring military-grade equipment, like Humvees or whatever for mass protest, riot events. And it probably should go towards having social workers being involved with community events, alternate public safety models, more workers for crisis hotlines, like that kind of stuff, and additional training, which is fair.
And so PG says, yes, they were. Some didn't want any police at all. Yeah, I know, guys, but when are we all going to learn? It's kind of like it's kind of like the trans thing, the libs of TikTok or whatever it was called. You can find any awful fucking thing to prove an anecdotal point, but statistically speaking, police departments were not defunded, and most people that were going around saying we needed police reform were not saying we don't want police departments. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right. Well, that's been the show, fellas. I don't know, Tech, are we wrapping it up? Are we going? We want more calls?
Can we get a $20 dono, please, chat?
Yeah, we got no super chats on this show. What that teaches me, Tech, is this is not a good show. Do people like us doing a political show? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't.
They do.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe drop like a $5, guys.
No, they don't like it. They don't like it. So they're like, stay in your lane, Jaffe. Make with the video game conversation.
$5 would be cool. Oh, do you want to do a quick interview?
With who?
Me?
Why the fuck am I interviewing you?
No, I have some questions for you.
Go ahead.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, but talk to the chat. I got to get another Coke, then I'll be right back.
All right. Do we have Coke? Oh, well, he's going to go find out. How's it going, chat? Do you like the political conversation? I think it's great. I think it's interesting, especially since Jaffe's super liberal pilled. He loves to hyper react. I wish more of you called in. Just like push the man, push him. Isn't enough push. I think it's a nice one. There is a Diet Coke next to you, Tech. Yeah, that's mine. Don't tell Jaffe about it. The Zionist machine is the establishment. There is, you know what? For me being as I won't say I'm pro-Israel for like the Gaza conflict, but I am pro-Israel as like a country. Thank you, Invader 42. Invader 42 with $10 says I liked it and add it to the rotation here and there. I agree. Jaffe never did make me soup. That fucking guy. Anyways, I like Israel as a concept. The country being there is nice. I wish they weren't so aggressive with their neighbors. But as much as I like that, there is too much Israeli money feeding into the fucking like U.S. government. That shit is cringe. That shit is very awkward. Jonathan Boucher with $5. I think talking politics is good content, but it might be brought in. It might be brought in someone with an opposing view to debate. Me and Jaffe have opposing views, but we're letting him kind of wander on this first episode. When he comes back, I'll make sure he gets these comments. Richard with $10 says, love you guys. I just finished Candace Owens' series, Become Bridget, and I couldn't believe the absolute nonsense she was spouting. And then all the supportive comments, mind-boggling. Dave Calzone with $5 says, I enjoyed it, and I liked hearing perspectives from both sides. Was a good listen while installing my new CPU cooler. Oh, congrats, dude. Post pictures. If you're in the Discord, drop those PC pictures in the chat. Is our Discord still Jaffe Games invite? I fucking hope so. Invite people. Fucking better be. We need more. Discord.gg/Jaffe. Fucking hope so. Call in, Jonathan. Yeah, anyone can call in. You can have this conversation with Jaffe. You can push him on these topics that he's not so fond of, and see how he reacts. No, you guys can ask him anything. Abortion. Ask him about adoption. Ask him about like mandating kids go to schools. Right? Jaffe has like a weird take on the school system. He's like, yeah, it's bad. Blah 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 blah. But he loves the education department still being a thing. Make no mistake though. Tariffs are a tax that hurts consumers when used to offset the costs on businesses shipping in and out of the country for trade. This is very true. This is extremely true. I am not a fan of the economic policies that Trump has put out. I think that the changes to the tax code has been cringe. I think there should be more relief for people making under like $90K a year. I know $90K is a lot. Jaffe's a richer guy, so he doesn't see the sensibility about like what normal income is. Most Americans, let me pull the statistic because I'm pretty sure most Americans make $38,000 a year. What is the most common annual income in America? I'm not talking about the median because then you get skewed by fucking billionaires and shit. The most common. Don't give me the median. Fucking, I hate Google's bitch ass. Fucking Google's such a bitch. Jaffe, we got multiple super chats. We asked them, and they said, we'll deliver to show that the show is good.
Well, thank you, fellas. We appreciate that.
Yeah, do you want to read through them while I get some information for the chat?
Yeah, 1 second. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just fix this.
Buy more Canadian. I super support. It's not called NAFTA anymore. What is the abbreviation? Do you know? What is the new NAFTA?
By the way, 888-910-7235 is the number if you want to call in and have your opinion heard.
The USMCA. That's kind of a based acronym. By the way, if you want me to hear the callers, you have to stream that again.
I will.
Stream a window.
No, I will.
Just not the actual window. Make sure.
Got it.
I'm a big fan of buying inside of the USMCA, which was originally NAFTA. We should be supporting more Canadian imports. We should be supporting more Mexican imports. I think it is probably, in the long run, more economically viable to build a infrastructure of production in Mexico versus what we're currently doing, which is sourcing that out of like China or India. India being like the more prominent one that we're switching to now, or Vietnam as well. For two things, right? One, why the fuck are we shipping things across the fucking planet, spending all that money and all that oil and getting it through the oceans? Our neighbors are right there, right? Have better secured policies economically in Mexico, start influencing their economy to be more structured and less corrupt. And then we have a safer border in the long run as well. Like, we should be doing that. And with Canada Canada is the largest source of lumber used in Western style houses in the fucking world, right? I know British people are like, your houses are made of wood and not stone. Like, yeah, motherfucker, of course it is, because it's a renewable resource. We're not gonna go fucking like mine up an entire fucking like mountain town of rocks and shit to make our fucking like 700-year-old houses that you guys have that are all cramped and shitty insulation, right? I love wood houses. I love that they only last like 80 years. All right, that's all you need it for. Fuck it. But yeah, I'm trying to find the median income.
Invader 42, thank you. I like to add to the rotation here and there. Will do. Thank you, buddy, for that super chat. Johnny B, thank you, champ. He says, I think talking politics is good. Might be brought in with someone with an opposing view. I'm with you on that. However, we do have a phone number. There's no hoops to jump through. Pick up your phone, 888-910-7235. Richard, thank you so much for the super chat. Love you guys. I just finished Candace Owens' series, Becoming Bridget. I couldn't believe the absolute nonsense she was spouting, and then all the supportive comments, mind-boggling. Let me get right back to that, Richard. Dave Calzone, thank you for the super chat. I enjoyed it. I like hearing perspectives from both sides. Was a good listen while installing my new CPU cooler. You got to get one of those with Battlefield coming out, man. That'll cook your system. Thank you for that. So, Richard, is the Becoming Bridget thing from Candace Owens the thing about she is convinced that the wife of the is it
woman,
the current head of France or ex? What's his job right now?
The wife of the president of France, Brigitte Macron, is a trans woman. Is her take?
Okay, and my point would be, okay,
one, who cares?
Who gives a shit?
But two,
assuming it's true, who gives a shit? They say the same thing about Michelle Obama. Who gives a shit? What do I care?
Yeah, the issue is that it causes enough of a social degradation of the respect that the official gets that I think they're suing Candace Owens.
Good.
Like the Macron family is saying, like, you are like dragging my name through the mud, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're a political figure. People should be able to say what they want about you. But that said, though, if you actually give a shit,
it's interrupting with official business.
You know what? If you're not capable of doing your official business, as the fucking
they're not American. They don't have the same freedoms of speech over there.
Well, then don't go to France, I guess. I mean, I disagree with Candace Owens on almost everything, but in that case, let her say what she wants. But really, who gives a shit who the guy wants to marry? All right, it's Jaffe. What's going on?
Hey, it's Richard. I just wrote in with that super chat about the Becoming Bridget. You have to share your
screen for me to hear, by the way.
Oh, gotcha. Let me share my screen so Tech can hear. One moment. Hang on one sec, Richard.
Make sure it's not the real screen.
No. I'll put Miss Katie Porter up there. Let me put Sydney Sweeney up there.
Also, the most average American income per year is $47,900 a year. That is what the most amount of Americans make. It's not crazy high. So if you're making under 90K, you should be given additional tax credits, in my opinion.
All right, we got Miss Sydney Sweeney up on the screen. We'll do well. Okay, so Richard,
who's calling in?
This is Richard who wrote in about the Becoming Brigitte thing. What's going on, bud?
So I'm not American. I'm Canadian, and I'm trying to look into the sort of legality there, and I don't understand how even under American law she can get away. What she's saying is so outrageous, right? She's claiming that Macron is a Manchurian candidate who underwent some sort of MK Ultra experiment and was groomed as a child by a team of Rothschild pedophiles in order to make him become the president. And Brigitte is a part of this cabal of pedophiles that groomed him into trying to make him president of France.
Okay, well, whatever. I mean, again, I hear
those are all fact statements, right? I just don't understand how, freedom of speech, especially when it comes to public figures, right? Isn't there some sort of caveat about if you have malicious intent and you're reckless disregard for the truth? And
you can.
She's being sued specifically because that idea of her is causing her serving as the first lady, right, of France, more strain on being able to do her work because it's bringing her name down, right? Saying that she's a spy for some secret government agency, it's losing credibility with her populace. Yeah, so she is in the wrong. Candace Owens is in the wrong for doing so. If you were going to write like a
well,
short
she's
story,
not in
a
the
fantasy,
she's not in the wrong if she believes what she's saying, and she, if she's saying this is a
Yeah, but I mean-
fact, if she's saying this is factual, then certainly you could sue her for defamation. At least in
she's being
America.
she's being sued for defamation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again,
Well,
to me, the real issue has more to do with the fact that if I'm a fucking politician at that level, just let people say whatever. People are going to say shit. If you can't do your
I
job,
suppose that's fair. Have a bit of a thicker skin, I suppose, right?
yeah. But that said, though, shame on anybody who listens to Candace Owens, let alone listens to her about this. I mean, really? I mean,
I was
this
kind
whole
of shocked. I was shocked at how many views she had, and
yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Everybody can agree that pedophiles are awful. Okay, but
True.
The current Republican playbook of let's just throw that at the wall. They're killing babies. They're pedophiles. It's like, you know what, man? If you guys are really so opposed to PDFs, which you should be, then how about we just sort of demand that Trump release everything on Epstein? How about that first?
True.
It's a bunch of horse shit.
Also, are you a Winnipeg guy? Is that the accent I'm getting or no?
No, I'm in London, Ontario, so near Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Place.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for the super chat.
Love the show, guys. I will talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
There he goes. Off into the evening. It's showing that there is an elite connecting all the countries. Surprised we pick and choose what we listen to, yet this data is in our faces. Like the MH370 orbs. Well, wait a minute though. You're making very weird claims at this point. Okay? Are the elites in control like they've always been? Sure. 100%. Do we get lied to about a lot of things? Sure. The MH370 orbs, I'm not entirely sure I believe it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I could believe it. He's talking about the conspiracy theory that the Malaysia Flight 370 was some sort of zero energy teleport experiment that actually now looks like they may have been trying to do it the year before with a different plane. And it was actually teleported to some military base, blah, blah, blah. True, probably not, but maybe. Wouldn't surprise me. But, the idea that just because we're lied to, everything is now credible. You really think Marcone is stealing DNA and babies and there's this PDF ring? I mean, this is some QAnon horse shit that don't you want to have some evidence to back this up? And I'm not saying I'd put it against them. These people will do anything. But I'm just saying that, maybe what it really represents is we are realizing that these people will do anything, including knock down buildings on 9/11 or allow 9/11 buildings to go down.
Yeah, I got to share my screen, Jaffe.
Go ahead.
This Clinton guy, if you want to click on my screen share. This Clinton guy, he's so dead set about the crime in Washington, D.C. is so crazy. 2023, 27. It's,
Right.
Here's a report from, I think it's the United States Attorney's Office, right? That says that homicides are down 32%, right? Robberies down 39%, carjackings down 53%, dangerous weapons violence is down 27%. Compared to the levels from 2023 in one year. This is the all-time low for the last 30 years. And you're like, oh, well, where's the data? Here's the fucking data.
He doesn't want the data.
Here we go. Look, there's a minus 32% change of homicides from 2023 versus 2024. I don't know what you're trying to prove. Like, what world are you living in where you're just
okay, but you're talking about
it's all dangerous. It's all scary.
So think about this though. So Trump comes into office after the report is filed, right? So what they'll tell you is, but that's Biden. Biden was lying about the figures, right? Well, Biden's not the guy that has a history of fudging the figures. The guy who has a history of firing people who give him statistics he doesn't like is your boy Trump. Okay? So I'm not suggesting, like John says, could it be the report saying it's down could be falsified?
Nobody knows the truth. Like, that's the problem. Like, do you think, like, especially that's angle of like Biden versus Trump, who's going to go and falsify figures? Do you think Biden was like, hey, every single district across the United States, I need you to falsify the data for what the murder rates are and what the crime rates are? And by the way, no one can reveal this.
And by the way,
over
I lost the
3,000
election, so I'm already on the way out. So this is not going to help me. But go ahead, and when you file the report in January of 2025, after I'm packing up my bags,
what does he have to gain?
Right?
The man can't remember what color socks he wears.
Right.
He can't remember what he had for breakfast. What's he going to get from this?
I think what's really unfortunate about this, where people argue like us with people like Clinton, is that fundamentally we're all swimming in the same stew, which is it is absolutely correct to question the powers that be.
Validity.
Right, on either side. So it feels like a correct response to go, I don't know if I should trust that. And I think that needs to be supported, and that needs to be a healthy part of our discourse, while at the same time going, that can't be a get out of jail free card for everything. Because otherwise what you get is what we have now, which is you choosing to support
what you want to believe.
You choosing the facts that already support what you already think. And it makes the actual facts, when you can find them, useless. So I think we're all in that stew. We're all cooking in that boiling water. Which is, we're being trained correctly not to trust a lot of things. But I think we've taken it way too fucking far. Especially when you literally see the current president firing somebody who turned in facts he didn't like. Statistics he didn't like. Sterling says, who do you enjoy listening to or reading to keep up on politics? Well, honestly, I try not to listen to any individual. Like I said, that's why I go to Ground News, because I like to see a lot of different, like, again, the two eye-opening things as of late. One was when I learned from Colin Moriarty that Trump, and I would have gone to my, cremation room, whatever they do, believing that Trump had said, and I had seen him say, that there are fine people on both sides, the KKK and the racist and the non-racist. And Colin's like, that's really not what he said. And I went back and watched it, and Colin was absolutely right. That's not what he said. Or like Nancy Pelosi, if it turns out what this police chief is saying was true, that he came out today and said he reached out to her on January 6th and said, hey, we would like the National Guard, and she rejected it. I would be surprised, but I would believe it if it turned out to be true. Right? So for me, the biggest value has just been going, if I really care about at least sort of trying to find the truth, go to Ground News, go to AP, go to Reuters. Everyone's going to be biased, but the business model of Ground News is pointing out the bias and letting people kind of know, hey, the truth sometimes is somewhere in the middle. And shame on all these fucking companies. My brother was telling me he wrote a really nasty email to Tim Cook, and, these fucking capitulating horse shit CEOs going into the White House and kissing the ring. It's like, you know what, Tim Cook? You're a fucking openly gay man. This motherfucker is coming for you next. After the Supreme Court lets him say, hey man, you can pick the Mexicans up. You think, the head of the Pentagon is retweeting a pastor saying we should get rid of gay marriage. What, you think they're not going to come walking in next for the gay folks, the trans folks? Tim Cook? Come on now. Come on now. What's the matter with you? Well, I have to have my quarterly report. Fuck you. God, look, I've never been super duper crazy rich. I've been well off. I did well. Certainly not as well as I used to, but I understand what it's like to be privileged financially at times in your life. But I have never come close to the amount of money that you must have to make to have your soul so corrupted that you'll walk into the White House as an openly gay man and kiss Donald Trump's ass. Or so corrupted that I'm willing to support a president just because he's in my political party and leads my political party, who is literally asking the Supreme Court to let ICE pull people off the street because they look Mexican and they're talking in Spanish. I don't know what kind of money would that take to totally take your soul, your spirit, and corrupt you into a walking, living, breathing piece of fecal paste? That's what I'm curious about. Maybe you know the answer. Not a problem. 888-910-7235. You can call in and share your view of this crazy, delightful little world that we are living in. Clinton says most of the country voted for President Trump, so most people disagree with you, Jaffe. Well, most of the country that voted voted for President Trump. But I don't care. You're wrong. Right? That's all you've got, Clinton. Clinton says most of the country voted for Trump, LOL, so most people disagree with you, Jaffe. I don't care. It was a close election, and even if it wasn't, you're still wrong. And fuck you if you say everyone knew 100% what they were signing up for. You're out of your goddamn mind. Did you vote for Trump? Clinton, did you vote for Trump? And if you voted for Trump, you're telling me you support the fact that you want a president that says, hey, you know what? That kid over there is speaking Spanish. He needs to be able to be arrested. You are in favor of that? Then you're a fucking moron. No, that's not even true, Clinton. You may not be a moron at all. You're just mean. And you're an asshole. It doesn't matter whether the guy's
Is he on the phone with you?
No, I'm talking to him in the chat. He says, is the guy here legally? It doesn't matter. There is due process. You don't pick somebody up and arrest them because they have brown skin, you moron. You anti-American moron. And I love you, Clinton. We're best friends. Let's go to the sock hop together. I don't mean to make it personal, but you're making it personal, man. You're saying you're saying the majority of people voted for Trump and knew that he would say that I'm going to pick people up off the street if they are Mexican looking, whatever that means.
I'm a Mexican. Hello, I have dual citizenship.
Yes, but you be grateful you don't look Mexican.
Some people may say, just like you get the whole like, oh, you have the Jewy nose,
right?
People say like, oh, I have the Mexican mustache.
Okay, so let's assume you pass. Let's assume you are Mexican passing. I don't think you are, but let's assume you are. I get it.
But my biggest issue, because I've been open about this, right? I worked in the capacity of getting people sent back to Mexico or to other countries they come from, whether it's India or China that cross through the southern border. I've worked that job, right? I believe in having laws that are abided by, right, and followed up on to ensure the safety of our country. That you do it through the legal means. I'm all for that.
Well, no one is even talking about that, though.
Well, what I'm not for, specifically with this whole new policy thing, right, is in my heart, I'm an American. I love America. America is my home. America is the country I grew up in. I love this place, right? to have a policy that says just based on how you look, you can be
Or
detained
sound.
and investigated or sound, right?
And it's not, by the way, it's not even, that's bad enough.
Well, it is detained and arrested.
Arrested. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want that to exist for any type of policy, right? If for some reason the political climate skewed towards, hey, we're going to be stopping all the Jewish people to see if they are legally here or not from Israel or some shit, I'd be against that too. It doesn't matter what creed or class or race of person. I think that it's an overreach for any
It is
power
so
at B
fundamentally un-American.
to stop you for these reasons. I would understand if it's like, oh, some guy got pulled over for speeding, right? And it's like, okay, well, give me your license registration. It's like, well, I don't have that. Okay, well, let's investigate further. And it's like, well, okay, you're here in the country illegally. Cool. That following those steps towards like deporting somebody makes sense. But it's the overreach of saying some dumb fuck, barely high school graduate working with ICE or with Border Patrol can make the grandiose decision that I'm stopping you because I think that is too much of a reach for me. I don't want them to come to I don't want that to extend to like, oh, your house has a Mexican flag. Yeah, if I was living in my own house, I'd have a Mexican flag somewhere outside. I love Mexico. I love America. I love both places. Then be like, well, now I can go into your house and like see what you have inside your home. I'm not doing anything illegal. And the argument is saying like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what's the problem? Is you are relinquishing so much of the values of what it is to be an American.
But they don't know about it, and they don't care. See, that's the hard thing for liberals or progressives like me to accept. It's not that people like Clinton in the chat are ignorant. It's that he doesn't actually care. He's just racist, right?
He says here, what about the people that are standing outside of Home Depot and ICE turns up and they all bolt? I stood outside of Home Depot once in my life. I was looking for gig work when I was like growing up in high school.
And I'm an
American citizen.
There's nothing illegal. First off, in a culture where you can be picked up, according to at least what he's asking the Supreme Court for, you can be picked up just for where you're standing. I'd run too. Okay, but besides that, though, ask yourself, it's not illegal to stand in front of Home Depot.
No.
And so if they run and there is a law enforcement officer who says don't run and they run, okay, sure. But that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, if you're an American citizen and you're standing anywhere, well, it depends on the state. Some states have like a stop and frisk, stop and ID policy, right? But in most states where these policies are being enacted from ICE, they don't, like a normal police officer in that state, in that city, does not have the right to stop you and say, give me your ID, produce like documents that say like you are who you are, if you're not being associated to a crime. They're just assuming the crime is there based on circumstantial evidence. Oh, you were standing outside Home Depot? That's not enough. That's not enough to stop anybody.
Here's what the real problem is, though, to me, even beyond that, is like what SF types in the chat. He says, Trump is just being more aggressive, but we deport tons of people every day, even under Biden and Obama. You're missing the whole point, in my opinion. The issue is not the fact that we are deporting people who are here illegally. Okay? We do need immigration reform. We do need to find, hopefully, a humane way to go about it. That's not the issue. My God, that's not the issue. Why are we? I don't understand why you don't understand that your very freedom that you claim when you go out and ooh and ah over fireworks on the 4th, you claim to love. I don't understand how you don't understand that that's being ripped away. It's not the fact that we may deport someone who should be deported. It's the fact that we don't just pick somebody up off the street because that guy looks Mexican to me. And get rid of all of the rights that we're supposed to value and cherish in America. I do not understand how again, maybe this is what happens when you get old, right? Where you're like, I don't understand the kids. My time is over. I'm 54. Maybe if I came up in a post 9/11 world, I would believe what you guys believe. But I, for the life of me, cannot understand how you guys are even playing nuance with this. Trump is asking for the rights to pick people up off the streets because of how they look and how they sound. How is and SF is still typing. They barely reformed or changed ICE when they were in office. Biden deported more people than Trump's first term and had the ICE camps in place. That's not the point. We're not talking about the validity of deporting illegals in America. Why can't that...
For the record, let's just both say it, right? If you came into the country illegally and you are detained by legal means, right, that would bestow upon any American in public, you should be deported. If it comes up.
Right, I agree with you. My moral code suggests that I would like to do it in a way that is humane and kind and understanding for a lot of the people that are here because they're trying to get a better life and they're desperate. And hopefully we could work with Mexico with that in some way. And there have been proposals of that. But yes, you and I both agree that there should be a process by which you get into this country. Nobody's arguing that, SF. No one is arguing that. You are a racist, Clinton. You may not be a racist, but you're either willfully ignorant, you are racist, or something else is going on in your brain pan. And again, you have a right to be racist, man. But my guess is it's less about being racist and more about you being uninformed about really the value of this country. Because what if the shoe was on the other foot?
It probably just stems from not being racist, but just like the idea that they don't think this affects them, right? And not having that connection to...
But then you're just cruel.
We are actively seeing that the rights of people in America... maybe his perception is that it'll never affect an American, and because it never affects an American, it's not a problem. But again, there's so many brown Americans that have lived here for generations.
But wait a minute, isn't that fundamentally cruel? It's like let's say it doesn't. Let's say it stops at super looking, whatever that means, brown Mexican people that are like that Cholo character you do. Let's say it never goes beyond that. But in that, there's a lot of people who are Americans, just as American as you and I, who get caught up in this. Just because it's never going to happen to us, it's still awful. We shouldn't be supporting it. It's cruel. It's mean. It's un-American.
Yeah.
How is this hard? Were you not raised by parents that taught you right from wrong?
Sucks. I have siblings that are born in like Nevada, like me. That they're my half siblings, and they're brown, Jaffe. They are brown.
Yeah.
Right. They're American, yeah. And my little brother has 2 daughters now, and they're now second generation Americans. This policy targets them, and there's not even a dispute about like where they're from. It's just if some guy's like, you're brown enough and you're speaking Spanish at a grocery store, that's enough. And that's fucking crazy. I have told you my dad is still highly considering moving back to Mexico.
I don't fucking blame him.
My dad has been paying back in taxes. My dad's been successful in his business for 20 years now, yep. Giving money back to the government because he's, a law-abiding American. But just in his daily professional life, he is getting consistent, like, ice joke this, ice joke that. Do you have your bags packed? You never know. They'll catch you. He's like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, I love America.
It's so heartbreaking. It's so cruel. And
that's the stuff that's stupid.
Do you think Clinton in the chat is a troll at this point? I mean, I appreciate his engagement because it helps give us something to push back on. But what he wrote just now, this makes me go, maybe he played his hand. Overplayed it. They're deporting them because he says, where'd it go? It says, you either have a country based on law and order or you don't have a country. What does that have to do with anything we're saying, right? This guy's a troll, right?
Yeah, it's going against what our law and order is. It's going against what the understood agreement is versus like government overreach into your rights, right?
Yeah.
He's only assuming, or she, I don't know what Clinton is, right?
Yeah.
It could be Bill or
Hillary.
He's assuming that no American will be tied up in this process wrongly, right? That's just not true, right?
Yeah.
You can be. There's so many. Moving to San Diego now that I've been here for a while. I've been here for business, but not interact with like the public. There's so many like really brown Hispanic like people here who will tell you like, yeah, my great grandfather's lived in L.A. for like his entire life. He was born there.
Yeah.
Right. He's fourth generation of being an American citizen, but he looks the most Mexican I've ever seen someone look. And it's like that guy is going to be targeted for sure. Like if he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, he's targeted. Now we are actively infringing upon the rights of Americans based on a policy that's only supposed to target, illegal immigrants. For what? Like why give up that level of security as being a citizen in your country just because like, oh, I don't like that they're here?
Let me read these two. One pump man, I hope you're wrong. Putting yourself in other people's shoes and trying to think about shit from a different perspective is a skill. A lot of people don't have that skill, Jaffe. I just thought that was, out of all the people here, I'm the most agnostic atheist out of all you motherfuckers. I thought that was what you Christian people and religious people supposed to learn. Walk in another man's shoes and all that bullshit. That's number one. Jason WB says, my friend's son married a woman from Panama. My friend's son, okay, she is getting her visa in 2 months, had to wait 2 years. Meanwhile, illegals are getting in and granted asylum. Almost all were granted asylum under Biden. Great. That's not a good thing. We absolutely need to...
Wait. That is a good thing.
Well, no, what I'm saying is...
Getting granted asylum.
No,
you went through the legal process.
Right.
But he's saying through what is essentially established by the United States, saying,
yeah, I know, but
if you want to come here,
he's saying Biden,
they're not illegal.
He's not saying they are. He's saying it's not fair. Biden's policies weren't fair because people who were able to just walk in and get asylum isn't fair to his friend's son. And perhaps that's accurate. But what I'm saying though is that the issue is not that we shouldn't have, like, think about it. You're arguing for better, more thorough immigration policy. Okay? Then why isn't that what we're debating? Trump wants better immigration policy that is kind and American and fair, but is also strict enough to guarantee that we're not letting people slip into the system, blah, 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 blah. We're not talking about that. We're talking about bullies on the streets that are now going to the Supreme Court going, I want to pick somebody up and throw them in a detention center. And I'm not exaggerating, literally, because they look Mexican. They speak Spanish. That's not about fixing immigration. You're not even talking about the same fucking thing.
The problem they're talking about, Jaffe, is the MPP, which is the Migrant Protection Protocols, which was not Biden. It was altered by Trump during his first term, right? To now allow an additional amount of people to get refugee status and stay in the country while their court case is pending, right? But even then, saying like this allows more illegals, that term just is that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't. That wasn't. I think his point.
And even then, that was established in 1980. Who's the president in 1980, Jaffe?
Reagan or Carter, depending on when it was established.
Yeah, like what we're arguing here is, I don't agree with the policy of allowing people that are seeking asylum legally who deserve asylum. There are people that deserve asylum in the United States. I hope we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
People that are running away from corrupt governments, people that are in fear of their life because cartels or because, again, a corrupt political figure is establishing them as like criminals for no good reason, right? Like, oh, you're poor and you're in this area and we're going to develop this. And if they're seeking asylum and the U.S. has offered that policy, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Just like your friend's son's wife, right? They are seeking to move to the United States for their own reasons. They're following the protocols put in place by our government, and they're coming here. That's not wrong. That's not bad, right? And we've seen so many case after case in the past like 4 months of people going to their immigration hearings, right? Going to the courts to finalize the process, which they did legally, and getting arrested there and deported before they're even being like given the opportunity to follow through with the process. You are making people incentivized to do it illegally and to stay hidden in the country if the way you're doing it is not being accepted. You ask the government, how should I do it? Do it this way. You do it that way. Fuck you, you're deported anyways. What are we doing? What is this? When your parents tell you like, yeah, you can go out, and then you go out for the night and you come home, it's like, why the fuck did you go out? You're grounded. Where's the law and order in that? Where is that law and order talk that we're talking about?
They don't really care about that. And
no, it's brown man scary.
I try not to respond to Stick Solid because he's trolling, but just so you know, when you're saying no one is getting jailed for looking Mexican, that's a ridiculous narrative. Go look. It's on the news, man. No one's getting jailed yet. Trump is asking the Supreme Court to bless Stephen Miller's racial profiling. The Trump administration asked the court to lift an injunction blocking ICE mass arrests based on unconstitutional racial profiling. The injunction bars ICE from arresting people for 4 factors, alone or in combination. Here they are: appearing Hispanic, whatever that means, speaking Spanish or accent English, working a particular type of job, and being present at a place where immigrants, quote, are known to gather. Okay? I understand that Trump, you're missing the point. Hopefully, the Supreme Court will say, nope, we're not going to allow that. Ask yourself, though, what kind of a fucking man, let alone a president of this fucking country, you fucking moron, would even consider this? You fucking racist asshole. You fucking racist asshole. You're the kind of person that the Jews, when they said the Jews have to wear stars, you would have been like, why not? Why not? Because, you know, Hitler says the Jews are rats. We don't like rats. They're hurting the economy.
I unironically heard an argument in another political server that I hang out in on Discord saying that, oh, if you are going to fall under like policies like this, like you are a Mexican looking guy or you're speaking Spanish, you should probably have some type of like document that you carry on you, maybe like a badge that you wear that shows that you're an American citizen. So you can walk around and if ICE comes to you, it's right there. It's present. And I was like, oh, so like the Jewish star.
And what did they say?
You want to identify it? And they were like, no, it's different. Trump's not racist, right? He's just looking to make sure that the country is safe. Safe from what?
Right.
Safe from, oh, you're brown. I'm scared. Let me confirm that I shouldn't be scared of you, but I'm still going to be scared. Like the birthright citizenship policy change, right? That's also being sought out by the current POTUS, right? If one of your parents were illegal in this country and they gave birth to you and you were born here, you should be deported to the country of that illegal parent. How do you feel about that, Jaffe? What's your viewpoints on birthright citizenship?
Let me answer that in just one quick moment, because I do want to make sure that Clinton says, I'm gay, Jaffe, but I still think this. This is what's coming for you next, pal. Hegseth, the head of the Pentagon, posts video of pastor he follows calling for a gay sex ban. Defense Secretary Hegseth has reposted a video that features the leader of a Christian evangelical movement he follows calling to make gay sex illegal. In the late 70s and 80s, sodomy was a felony in all 50 states, Wilson says. That America of that day was not a totalitarian hellhole. I guess it was if you were gay. In fact, sodomy was a felony punishable by prison and hard labor up until 1962. All of Christ for all of life, says Pete Hesketh, and he retweets it. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm told I shouldn't call people idiots. I should call people ignorant. Yeah. I'm going to reserve it for you, though. You're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. I hate to say it because I probably would like you in real life. I don't really mean to be a dick to you. Really? Really? You're okay with this? Same guy who retweeted when they said that women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Same guy retweeted it. Same pastor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
What's it coming to, Jaffe?
I don't know.
Nope. Run for president, Jaffe.
No. Listen, talk to me about the birth ban. Go back to that now. Sorry.
But birthright citizenship?
Yeah. What were you saying?
They want to get, Trump has talked about wanting to get rid of birthright citizenship, which is, if
one of the parents is here,
it's illegal, right? During the birth of a kid, right? How it works now is that kid is an American citizen. They're born in the country, so they are. But revoking it would mean that that kid is also illegal and should be sent back to the country of origin.
Right. How do I feel about that?
From. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan of that. I think it's I think if the parent, like right now, do you still have legal citizenship? Like, let's say one of the parents is Mexican.
Yeah.
And they go back to Mexico with the baby. Does the baby have dual citizenship?
No.
So they just have American citizenship.
In my case, right? No. It's the other way. So in my case, my mom has American citizenship when I was born. My dad was still in the process of getting American citizenship when I was born, but he was still illegal, right? So if they revoked birthright citizenship and for some reason they deport my dad, they were like, oh, we don't believe in your right to become a citizen or whatever, then I lose my American citizenship and I'm only a citizen of Mexico.
Right. No, I know.
I also get deported.
No, I understand. What I'm saying, though, is if you're carrying a baby today and the baby's born in America and Trump has his way and this thing goes through, that baby
is just a citizen of the country where the illegal parent is.
I mean, I don't think
they could be born in Washington, D.C. and live to be 4 years old, right? Sorry,
I don't have enough in I don't know enough. I don't have enough education on that subject to understand, to have an opinion on it. So I'll just take your view as somebody who's lived through it and assume that you're right because it sounds right.
I was saying, doesn't it sound ridiculous? I'm 28 this year. I turned 28.
Well, if being retroactive, that's ridiculous. Yes, but if you're talking about moving forward, I can't speak to that. But certainly, yes. Now, no, it's bullshit. Based on people who are already citizens, no, you can't. I don't even. think, no.
Well, that's what he was talking about.
Well, yeah, but it's one of the many things he's talking about. He's a fucking nightmare. And he probably needs to be in jail for diddling underage folks or
Allegedly.
diddling, alleged. Well, that's why I said probably. I just don't know. I don't know.
If you're enjoying the stream and you enjoy these political talks, conversations, show your support. We are piloting this. We're seeing how it performs. Thank you for the people that donated earlier. Hey, this is what is going to keep it on the channel if it's enjoyable to you guys.
By the way, we have somebody's calling in, I think. What's going on, buddy?
Mm-hmm. Hey, I heard that beep. I want to talk about immigration and how easy it is.
Okay, who's calling?
Couple immigrant neighbors. It's Wild FTW in the chat, man. I give you so much money. I love this show. You guys rock.
Thank you, buddy. But I think
I got a neighbor now. He's from Switzerland.
Wait. I think you're listening on a delay, though. You have to listen through your phone because there's a long delay.
Yeah, I'm on my phone. There is a delay.
All right, well, just let's accept there will be one and sort of plan around it. Okay, so go ahead. You speak next.
All right, yeah. So he's not brown. He's white, but he's an immigrant. He went online, the embassy website, and dude, I can totally hear myself. This is hard to talk.
Yeah, I don't know why. You can hear yourself. He says turn down your mic. I think what's happening is do you have the stream running anywhere in your room or your...
Yeah, if the stream is running on your phone, close the YouTube app so you can just listen to the phone call, and that'll be way easier. BRB.
Let's see. It's not running on the phone. Okay, well, my point is it's really easy to get here legally.
It's really easy.
You don't even need an attorney.
Okay. But what is your point as it relates to... I mean, I think... I could be wrong now, Wiley, but I think both Tech and I have done a decent job communicating that we're not in support of just being able to walk into the country and become a citizen. We think there should be a process and there should be laws. Have we made that clear?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay. So to me, the issue... I think maybe you could clarify for me is why do you think we have people in the chat who seem to think we are advocating or leftists are advocating no borders at all? We're talking about the policy by which these folks are being indiscriminately picked up and what Trump and Stephen Miller want to do to make it just horrific to pick people up just for looking Mexican. Mm-hmm. And why aren't they able to understand there's a difference between that and going, yeah, but we still want, a good immigration program.
Okay, yeah, this is a different conversation here, but I can see why it is so extreme. I think it went extreme one direction. Now it's going extreme the other direction.
Well, what was the direction? Like in the chat, somebody says Biden kept the border open for over 4 years. Well, he wasn't the president for more than 4 years, but this idea that the border you could just walk on in, I mean, that was not the case for 4 years. And Biden deported people. I'm not saying his immigration policy was great, but I don't know. Maybe what I have to learn doing this show, Wiley, is that some people are just going to go on repeat. Like this Clinton guy is not worth my time anymore. He's not listening. He's not listening when Tech says that was a Trump policy that Biden kept open. So maybe we just have to kind of let it go. Maybe that's my bad. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I've heard it's true that people who are in like a county, they are a part of like a census. Whether legal or not, you hold political power just by being a resident somewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you calling.
I can talk about this argument.
Okay. Go ahead, Tech. Go ahead, Tech.
Yeah, on the right, what people like to claim is that because you are a resident and you get taken part of the census, that influences the voting districts that you qualify in. And so, like the term gerrymandering, right? Where you say like, oh, this county or this area, that's a Democratic county, and that gets that representative voted in or whatever. That's the argument they're making. But what's so weird is that the majority of Hispanics are conservative and they are Republican and they vote red, right? You only start getting blue voting like Democratic Hispanics after the first or second generation of being an American. Mexicans from Mexico that come here, they vote with the right. They believe in traditional conservative values. So like even then, you would want, as a Republican, you would want to have more illegal Mexicans here to boost your support in those districts. But I mean,
is that true? Even the illegal ones? Even the illegal ones, they got to be Democrat.
And the illegal ones tend to be conservative, religious values. They believe in like Republican ideals. They believe in the atomic family, or is that what the term is? The atomic family?
Nuclear
family. They believe in the nuclear family. They believe in capitalist values, go out and have your business, less government oversight over how a company runs itself. As you've seen, like a lot of Hispanics love Trump. They love Trump, right? They would vote for Trump if they could, if they're not illegal, they will, right? I think it was like 81% of Cuban residences in Florida voted for Trump. They love him. But when you start looking at like LA, we have like second generation Americans from Hispanic descent. They're Democratic. They will vote Democrat. When you look at Hispanics that, again, second generation in New York or even in redder states like Alabama, second generation Americans that are from Hispanic descent vote Democrat. So what's happening is they're getting rid of like their political power by booting out illegals. The argument doesn't support itself. It's strange, right? Democrats would be better off kicking out illegal immigrants from like Hispanic countries if they wanted to lower their own shit. I don't get it. Oh no, to lower the Republicans' representation in that district.
Got it.
It's just a weird argument.
All right.
It's like
Yeah, see, I don't know why anybody would want to have people here legally who don't pay taxes, who they'll take
they do pay taxes,
government programs like the EBT or whatever that is. The food
that's like the funny thing is like if you want to qualify for like government assistance, you have to have like a social security number.
Why are we even talking about this? The issue
again,
is
the argument that people make.
But it's not
again, Jaffe. I know the issue that we are fighting is that, but the issue that they see is that immigrants bad. But again,
okay,
immigrants
then why
pay
can't
taxes. Immigrants pay into income. Again, immigrants pay into income tax and sales tax that they will never see the benefits from.
This is not even the issue. Of course, immigrants are not bad. People who are here and draining on the system, there needs to be a process. We all agree with that.
Yeah,
that's not the
illegal
issue.
Illegal immigrants don't qualify for the government support systems that are in place because they're not citizens.
I know.
So they don't get EBT. They don't get.
No, but the people will say
you're old, right? What is when you retire? What do you get from the government? It's Social Security, right?
Maybe
illegal immigrants do not get money from Social Security because they don't qualify because they don't have a Social Security number.
I know.
Right? But they're paying into it every year and they'll never see it.
Okay, I get it. But the issue...
Well, not everyone else gets it, is what I'm saying.
But it's not the right argument to be having. The issue is not whether or not
you have to meet them at their argument, Jaffe.
Their argument, that's like meeting them with their argument about are Crocs a good shoe or not. We're not talking about that.
No, but he specifically asked, like, people complain about immigrants taking on the system. Like, they pull from the system. But the issue is the most common person pulling from the Social Security system
but wait a minute,
is undereducated, like black people or white people.
Okay, so what they're saying is there is a point where they can feel negatively enough about someone that will trump all the things that they say they care about when it comes to American values. Because you've been convinced, whether right or wrong, that immigrants are bad or illegal immigrants are bad. That means it's okay to walk into a store and say, you look Mexican and you have an accent, you're going in the back of the truck. That's the issue.
Well, you got to ask them for their identification first, right? And if they can provide an identification.
No. They're literally...
They throw them into a truck.
They're literally
the policy
saying,
they want to put in is just if you look like this or you're speaking Spanish, that's enough for them to.
Or if you have an accent.
Yeah.
That is not hyperbole. That is a real thing that I just showed the news story that they're going to the Supreme Court and saying, we would like to be able to do this, please. That should be
you think that's going to pass? There's no way that passes.
Well,
you can't just let people throw people in the truck.
We're already doing
without
it.
Asking for anything first.
All right. Well, what do I get if you're wrong? Because the way things are going, I mean, let's see what happens. Because this is the same Supreme Court. This is the same Supreme Court that told Trump recently that as long as you can justify pretty much anything under national security, you can do what you want. So maybe What's that?
You said, basically, like, the president can do whatever they want, right?
Well, according to their most recent ruling, they said, "Hey, if you're justifying it under the work of the office of president, then you can. There's not much you can do that's arrestable." So
No.
you think that's crazy? The fact that now they're also going to turn around and say, "Oh, yeah, but you can't pick up people off this." Really? Hey, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right.
Well, the argument just doesn't make no sense if you're saying that even illegal immigrants would vote right wing. There is no motivation for Trump or the right wing to want to take anybody with brown skin or an accent.
It sounds like it solves itself there, logically.
That's not the problem that they're brown.
Yeah, the issue at hand is that the supportive base for Republicans are anti-immigrant, legal or illegal. It doesn't matter in that factor to them. And so the Republicans have to push these policies and they have to push these changes about, like, let's deport all of them, let's do this, let's do that, to gain and garner the support of their base. That's it. The political system is so strange in how that works.
And think about, seriously, I want you to think about this. Think about how easy it has been for Trump to vilify the immigrants. Think about how easy it has been for Trump to vilify and his party to vilify trans people who have done nothing. They've done nothing. They're just trying to fucking survive.
Well, the argument would be that nobody is really against legal immigration that I've talked to on the right side. It's really just illegal immigration.
That's on the left side for the most part as well. Most people don't want illegal immigration. My point is this, though. He's coming for any and everybody he wants to if this goes through. Right? The head of the Pentagon is tweeting out that women shouldn't be able to vote and gays shouldn't be able to have sex. Not marry, have sex. And you think it's going to stop here? Maybe the black folks will be next. Who knows?
What's your argument in favor of gay butt sex?
The argument for what?
What's your argument in favor of gay butt sex? What's the problem with getting rid of gay butt sex?
It's because it's none of my business.
Oh, I have an argument. Look, I understand that we have a pretty complicated prison system, and I like to reform, criminals. And if they're getting used to butt sex in jail, I want to let them have that fun when they're out of jail.
But seriously, the real answer is it's none of my business. It's none of your business. I don't give a shit what you do in your bedroom. The fuck do I care?
What if they want to stop me from butt sexing my wife in the future?
Yeah,
that's mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you guys win that one.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the support over the months, and thanks for calling. Good to talk to you, sir.
Hey, it's a hell of a time to talk on this phone. I can hear myself, and
well, thanks.
It was fun, though. Thanks.
Good. Thanks for putting up with it. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Wiley. Bye. All right, fellas, there he goes, off into the night. I think we're going to wrap it up. We got a Madhouse coming up at 6:30 tonight.
One last call to action, community. If you're enjoying the political conversation and you got $5 to throw,
$5,
have this continue.
Yeah,
we're trying to see if it works, and if it works, we'll keep doing it.
What's going to happen is the minute we shut this stream down before we get to prepping for tonight's show, Tech and I are going to meet up and go.
How'd it go?
What are the numbers? Are people liking it? Do we ever want to do this again? Or is it like, dude, don't put politics on the channel? So let us know either in the comments below. Let us know through Super Thanks. Let us know through becoming a member. Just supporting the show in general. In the meantime, that is Political Fattyz. I like the title. Maybe we'll change it. Who knows? But if you like it, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you tonight, hopefully on Madhouse with me, Tech, and Bunny at 6:30. And have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, Johnny Sulk. We appreciate it. We want to give the top 10 fans today.
Yeah, we can do the top fans.
All right, let me do it. Number 10, David Gaynor. Thank you, buddy. Number 9, Tyler. K-Nubs coming in at 8. 7, Steve Johnson. 6, Charles Darwin. Top 5, Dave Calzone. Thank you, buddy. Number 4, Jonathan Boucher. Number 3, Johnny Sulk. Number 2, Rivehard, but I don't think that's actually their name. It doesn't list the actual name. And then we've got Invader, number 1. We got one more call. Let's bring in one more final call. Coming in from LA. Let me share my screen so Tech can hear you. One sec, buddy. Hey, you're on with Tech and Jaffe. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello. Who's calling?
This is Ember.
Arcade.
Ember or Amber?
Ember's Arcade.
Oh, Ember's
Ember,
Arcade. Oh.
Ember's Arcade.
All right, what's up? Hang on one second. Sarah Grant, thank you for the pounds from Mary Old. We appreciate it, buddy. Thanks, pal. What's up, Ember's Arcade?
Hey, I know you're at the end of the episode, but I haven't been watching. I've been watching your streams for a little while.
Mhm.
And I follow you on Twitter, and I saw that you're doing a political show, and so I just caught the very end of it.
Yep.
You seem like incredibly stressed out. Are you like? I just wanted to check in with you and see how you're feeling. Like, do you think this is going to be something that's going to be healthy for you, or are you concerned that maybe it's going to raise your blood pressure?
No, my blood pressure's fine. I'm passionate about it. I like talking politics. I always have. It's important stuff, though.
This is so I did have like a direct question here, and it's not about politics necessarily, but I get the feeling that maybe you might have muted me on Twitter. That would be understandable.
No, no, I haven't.
But Tech, since you're here and since you're the manager,
Hello.
I wanted to let you guys know that I think your thumbnail art needs a little bit of work.
Oh, it's terrible.
And I was wondering if you'd be interested in having some. I do a little bit of professional thumbnail art. I'd be happy to provide you with some, and see if you enjoy it and see if it helps with the viewership on the channel. Especially now that you have a new show that you're trying to launch. I think that could be a really good, useful thing for your community to help you bring in some new eyes.
Yeah, you can always reach out to me on Discord. We can have that conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, but no, you're
Okay,
not.
so
You're not. You're not muted. You're not muted.
Like,
I don't know. I don't do much on Twitter anymore, other than promote the show. But I rarely mute anybody over there.
okay, yeah, because I like to bother you, so I just.
No,
I don't take it personally.
I don't agree. No, but I wouldn't do that. But I always like when you call in. We don't agree on pretty much anything, but it makes for good conversation. So why not? How's your show? How's your stream going?
Yeah. I don't have a stream.
No, but your videos. Your videos.
Pretty good. I got some sponsorships recently, and that's all been pretty nice.
Good, excellent. Yeah, we cannot get sponsors to save our lives.
So everything's going well over here. But
yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, but I can hear myself through the call.
Yeah, well, it's starting to sound like a common thing. We'll have to figure it out. Let me. I'll look into it.
Now.
We'll fix it later. We'll fix it later.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys go here. I know you're at the end of the show and you got to prepare for the next one. But I'll let you. I'll reach out with some mock-ups.
That would be
great.
great.
Think of what you like with thumbnail stuff, and maybe we can work together.
Excellent. All right, buddy.
Sick.
Talk to you later.
All right, guys. Take care.
You too.
Jaffe.
Yeah.
Could you do me a favor
Hey.
as your producer?
Yes.
I have 8 questions. I have a guy from a magazine that wants to get this little like interview stuff with you done. It's 8 simple questions about your gaming experience, your gaming life in the industry. Can I ask you them on the stream so I have it recorded?
Yeah. Let's do it. But by the way, Prison Junkie says, isn't it wild how the Epstein story just vanished? I don't think it's vanished. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know that that's probably what they hope, but it's not going anywhere. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
No more chat. All right. All right. Could you talk a bit
Wait,
about what it was like?
is this just for audio, or does he want video? Should my screen
That
just
doesn't
be me?
matter.
Okay, well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
am I full screen, or do you want 2-screen shot for this?
Make yourself bigger than
Okay.
me.
All right, go ahead.
Could you talk a bit about what it was like during the transition from 2D gaming to 3D gaming when the original PlayStation appeared on the scene in the early 90s? And what was your reaction to the console?
I mean, it's a big question, but how long are these answers meant to be?
They're going to take the ones they like and put them in a magazine, like a gaming magazine.
Okay, so I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out, am I giving sound bites or not? Because like, it's a big answer, right? Which is, I had only worked on a couple of 2D games, and we were incredibly limited. Every time we wanted to move the camera, you had to basically write a different engine. how the character moved, how things got rendered. The minute we had 3D, you could put the camera at any moment wherever you wanted. And I remember doing Twisted Metal, and it didn't work, but I was obsessed with this idea that whenever you went over a jump in that game, we did a cinematic cut of the car jumping. And I loved it, but it just disrupted gameplay, right? So there was a whole host of things we had to learn about how do you create gameplay in 3D space and how do you give the player control. And if you think about 2D games, nobody was ever worried about Mario wandering off into the background and losing the pace of the level. Suddenly now we had to come up with all kinds of little tricks and reasons to move things forward if it wasn't an open world game. So it was mostly deliciously exciting. It seemed like the whole world had opened up. Literally a plane had opened up for us, a 3D plane, or the 3D plane. But in that, though, it did create a lot of challenges that had to be solved collectively across people making video games.
Okay. And then what was your reaction to, specifically the PlayStation console helping bring that in?
Oh man, it was, we were working at a place called Sony ImageSoft, which made not all, but mostly shit games from licenses. And the fact that we got to be tip of the spear with all these other top developers, that was just an amazing stroke of luck that we were there. And so when they came in and showed us the dinosaur, and there was a whole video of like jumping Flash, and it's like, this is what games are going to be, we were all blown away. So we were, it's a very cliche thing to use the phrase kids in a candy store, but it felt like anything was possible. So when those executives left from showing us those videos, we ended up going back to the conference room and just brainstorming for days, like, oh my God, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. It was like we had been drawing with the Crayola box of 8 colors, and suddenly somebody had said, now you get 64 crayons to draw with. And it was like, holy cow, it was amazing. Fucking amazing.
Second question. Can you elaborate on the circumstances before you started work on Twisted Metal, where you were told that your job was in danger due to complaints from others? And what was your reaction to it at the time versus now looking back?
Yeah, I mean, I think no one at Sony, ImageSoft for sure, knew how to make video games, right? It's not what we did. And so I came in having gone to school to study film, having made movies growing up. And so I thought my job was to be like a film director, and people just showed up and did what I told them. And it took me about 4 failed projects. Even Mickey Mania was that way, where the team just wanted to kill me because there was no one to pull me aside and say, this is not that. That's not how games get made. And so when I was told after we had hooked up with the guys in Utah to make Twisted Metal and Warhawk, by my boss, he was like, my feet are to the fire on this. I don't know if we can give you many more chances. Me and Mike Yum, who did Warhawk. By that point, I kind of got it. And I was like, okay, I want to make this work. I think this is exciting. And I like the guys in Utah a lot. And it's just learning. Sony was great. Learning through failure, not just me, but I think all of those studios, first party, it's so grateful to have been at a company, at least at the time. I don't know if it's changed. I haven't been there a while, where failure doesn't mean you get fired. All of us were learning, and it was like an amazing school experience of how to make video games, both external and internal. And if you failed, it wasn't looked at like you have to go. It was looked at like, let's try again. Let's try again. And I do think that was one of the key reasons that Sony first party for the longest time, because so many of those executives stayed there forever, really became what they are today, because they just, we got to learn.
You've mentioned before that you see a lot of yourself in Twisted Metal, maybe
Yep.
more than any other game you've made.
Yep.
What is it in the game that you feel represented you so well?
I think there is a kind of loud, brash, impulsive, and very rough around the edges. I always looked at Twisted Metal like a garage band, or like a really good bar band. Like, it was never the prettiest game. It never controlled as well as a lot of slick, polished games like from Psygnosis or whatever. But I think it just had a lot of heart. and it had a lot of personality, and it was very loud and proud about what it was. It didn't seek anyone's acceptance. It felt it deserved a place on the shelf next to every and any other game. There was nothing about it that was lesser. And I think I relate to that a great deal.
Do you have any interesting memories of creating the infamous ending movies that were cut from the game?
Tons. I mean, I could talk for hours, but I would say that what I remember is being at the end of the first night, and it had been an absolute disaster. And I remember my brother was one of the producers, and my best friend Carrie was one of the producers. And we went out to Denny's afterwards, and I told them both, I said, I can't do this thing, because there was like 4 days left of shooting, and we had barely gotten anything shot, and it was all terrible. And I just said, I can't show up again tomorrow. And I don't remember, I was exhausted, and I just went home and slept, and, I showed back up. So they, while I was making them, I was aware that this probably wasn't working. And then I think it was really heartbreaking, because when they did get edited together, Focus Test really loved them. But politically speaking, it just wasn't the right thing to do for Sony, and they got cut, is what ended up happening. So that was real hard. That was real hard.
Scott Campbell has said that he clicked with you from the start. Why do you think you two worked so well together?
I think Scott and I, when we had the structure of Sony and we were both kind of reporting into the same boss, who we both had a lot of respect for, there was like somebody there to arbitrate the arguments, which were rare. But that freed us up from having any kind of conflict that we had to deal with day to day. And I think we both kind of view ourselves as kind of scrappy underdogs, and I think the game really speaks to that. And I think his soul is infused in the game just like mine is. When we started a company together, I don't think the relationship was as good, but I think when it was doing it with Sony, we were great colleagues. It was the game. There is no game without Scott, but there is no Twisted Metal without Scott and me and Kellen. And it was just a good relationship.
How do you think Twisted Metal and Warhawk would have turned out if you had lost the coin toss with Mike Glam?
Mike Guillaume. It's not Mike Glam.
Yeah.
I can't speak to Twisted Metal, of course, but I think Warhawk would have definitely not been a military shooter. I mean, there was hints of sci-fi already, but I think I would have I think it would have been a much more overtly creative game. Which is not to say it wasn't creative, but it was very meat and potatoes sci-fi airplane shooter. And I think probably, I don't think I would have been able to sort of contain my stupid, silly, wonderful ideas. I think you would have seen a lot more out of the box, enemies, level designs, things like that.
You mentioned in another interview that you remember one day during the development of the first game where you were terrified about chopping up the levels.
Yes.
And you were walking along a beach in Santa Monica with somebody.
Yep.
Can you elaborate more on that memory?
So we were at Alpha, and I had played through the game, and every level in the game, other than the first one, which took place in a arena, was a big open world level. The suburb level was massive. The city level was massive. And there was one other one. And I realized way too late that, oh shit, you can finish this game in about 30 minutes. And I knew that was bad, but I also knew that no one had done an open world shooter before. And so there was a real fear of, you're going to rip this up and you don't know how it's going to go. But it seemed to be the right call, and the fact that we did get to keep the suburb level really big allowed us to still show off that, but have a better paced single player game. But honestly, Twisted Metal became Twisted Metal because of the multiplayer and the stories, but that was a little after the fact. And the multiplayer was a coder. One of the lead coders came in one weekend and just put in split screen. That was never part of the plan. There was no multiplayer in that game plan. And suddenly it's like, oh my God, this is the heart and soul of the game. So it turned out that it really wouldn't have mattered, because the game was evergreen because you can play multiplayer forever. But at the time, we didn't know that. We thought we were making a single player experience, and it was just too short.
Did you say who you were walking on the beach with?
I think it was a woman named Gina. I think that's who it was.
Last question.
Yeah.
What was it like watching the Twisted Metal TV show?
Oh, it's great. I love it. What I think's really fun about it for me is I don't clearly watch those movies that I put in. I don't have directing skills. I really don't have great writing skills. I'm a good co-writer, but not a great standalone writer. So what I love about it is it's exactly the kind of show I would make if I had the skills to make a show. Like that doesn't mean that everything in it, there's nothing I would do different. Of course, there's some things I would do different, but fundamentally though, it is Twisted Metal. It gets Twisted Metal. It makes Twisted Metal better in a lot of ways. So it's been really fun. And it's also, as I get older, there's a little bit more thinking about leaving stuff behind, and going between God of War and Twisted Metal. It's very possible that when I'm dead and gone, even if I'm fortunate to live into my 90s, some of that will still be utilized and advanced upon by different creatives at Sony and TV companies, and that I may have been able to work with teams to kind of lay some bricks down that are still being, enjoyed. I think that's been one of the really cool meta takes I've been able to have by watching the series.
That's it. Those are the questions.
Oh, indeed. All right, fellas, that's the show. Let us know in the comments if you'd like more of these political shows called Political Fattyz. We're back tonight, 6:30. Tech doesn't like the name Political Fattyz. I think it's fun, but
I don't care.
Okay. We'll be back.
Chubbies.
Okay, we'll be back tonight, 6:30, with me, Tech, and Bunny doing a Madhouse. In the meantime, be well, be safe. Rocker Matt, I see what you wrote there. Let me talk to Tech about it. We'll see what we're going to do. But thank you for that, Rocker Matt. And thank you guys for watching the show, supporting it, and hanging out with us. We will see you next time. All right. Where does that go? Okay. Bye, you guys.
Bye, guys. We off?